Hello again, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to Chats with Jack. Jack Talcott here, and today I hope to discuss some things like peace and faith. I've had an inspiring day. I've dropped the link. It should be pinned in the comments for those who do choose to join or want to. And I've already been blessed. There is a guest I'll bring up in just a moment, but today where my thoughts and inspirations came from were some of the names I've linked in the description. Um, my growth on this YouTube platform and the social media, it's been influenced by many folks who I've come to admire. There's a lot of talent and wisdom that's emerging around us in this realm of time that we're sharing together. One of the recent inspirations today was Paul Unslaved, Proper Instruction Motivates People, discussing the Tao, the way, the ancient wisdom of those who knew, right? That's been passed down, overcomplicated, misunderstood, and actually kind of even hidden. The ancient wisdoms have been kept from most of the masses. But today I was listening to that, and then there's some other channels I follow on YouTube that offered some inspirations of faith, right? From the biblical perspective of the God of us, the creator of what and who we are. Um, it loves us. And it's up to us to believe in the faith that our creator might have in us. We've got things backwards. And that's what I've been learning and appreciating for myself. And before I bring this around for others, Randolph James, God bless you. Thank you. You have been a source of encouragement and inspiration for myself as well. Your generosity and kindness. It's what our world needs. It really is. So for those who are joining today and later, please, thank you. Thank you for sharing your time and attention, because that's what I've been coming to realize. Our time and attention, it is the most worthy gift we have to share. And with that, I'd like to bring in an honored guest, one who, if they know, they know. Welcome, sir. How you doing today, Paul? You're muted, brother. Maybe I did that. There we go.
Thank you, Jack, for having me up here again. I appreciate it. My pleasure.
Hey, so one of the things I was wondering about you, I know you've published a book, and
Yes, sir.
I have not spent the time to look into it much. Can you share what is about your book?
Well, it's just about kind of my growing up and a little bit about me and a little bit about Paul and his family and the tragedies we went through and just a little bit of psychology in there and how I've changed a little bit. I am working on the second book. It's been a little stalled, but very, very quick read, very, very short. And there's some humor, there's tragedy. There's a little bit of everything in this book.
In the first one or in the upcoming you're
No, in the
referring to?
first one, and it'll be a follow up to some degree on the second one.
Beautiful. And you mentioned psychology. Did I understand that you had some education profession in
Yes,
that? Okay.
yes, I do have a degree. That's a long time ago, Jack. But I have studied a little bit. Not the smartest guy in the world, but I have a little bit of background in it.
Hey, good for you. I've understanding the minds became a more recent fascination for me the past few years. Um, Once I started realizing my mind is what created my prison, I started trying to figure it out. How do I get out of this hell that I've created for myself?
Well,
And go ahead.
no, sorry to cut. The first thing, Jack, is that you realize that a lot of people deny it, and I do preach. I believe it's in. Can't remember if it's in book one or two that there's no shame in getting help, and a lot of people. And I learned that. I my ego was big. I didn't want to get the help, but again, with the help of others, my pastor, that I did get the help, and I preached to everybody, like the younger generation. They'll say, "Oh, I don't need any help." But yeah, everybody needs the help, Jack. Everybody needs it. It's just that everyone thinks they don't need it, and that
Amen.
ego, not me. It's the other person. It's not me.
Brother, what you're describing brought back memories of my life. I was raised by damn strong men and women. My mother and my stepfather worked hard, man, and they they fought. They didn't know when to stop fighting. So
Mm,
I learned from some tough people, but you know what? There was times they could have used some help. And what you said, that was a lesson I learned for myself too. I never wanted to ask for help. I wanted to be the one to offer the help. But the reality was I was such a mess, man. I couldn't I could have done a much better job of helping others if I'd admitted I needed help for myself.
most of us won't admit it,
I think that's
and
all of us, brother. Yeah.
that's where the problem is. And then some people go to get the help because they're forced, but you have to want it. You have to want the help for it to work. If you don't really want it, you're wasting everybody's time and money.
Amen. But see, this is something I've been learning too from the aspect of psychology, how this realm, this current day modern times has brainwashed us. It's taken our natural human instincts of desire, food and sex, and it's twisted everything around and screwed up our minds. And here the point is, many people are learn through what they don't like. Well, that's a partial truth. We do. We learn of comfort and pleasure by the contrast of suffering. But this world has taught us to focus on what we don't like so much that little time is spent trying to think about what we do want. And that's my life. That's how I used to live. But that kind of brings us around to the topic of faith as well.
And that's as I discussed with you the other day. I'm still trying to trying to figure out how to get that faith. Still trying. Don't know if it's ever going to happen.
May I offer, consider showing yourself some mercy, some compassion.
And that's one of the problems too. Dwelling on the past mistakes and not forgiving myself, which we are all really supposed to do. But
Amen.
I'm having a little problem with that. But maybe one day I will forgive myself.
Well, I'm sure you will. Um, but the reality is, life is short. Okay. And for forgiveness of ourselves and others, it's a choice that it's foolish not to make. It's foolish not to offer forgiveness to ourselves and each other. It really is.
I don't have a problem forgiving others, but forgiving myself happens to be a big problem.
Well, here's a brutal truth. There's nothing to forgive with those we love. So if you can love yourself with your faults and your blessings, if you can love yourself for the fact that you may have made mistakes in the past, and not just you, I'm not talking to just you, to anyone, but when we make, when we can find within us the ability to love ourselves unconditionally, recognizing that the choices we made in the past, it probably was the best we could imagine ourselves doing at that time. And so often, we learn and grow, and then we judge that younger version of ourselves like, you dumbass, why were you so stupid? Right?
I do that all the time because I look at the younger folks today, and then somebody will criticize them, and I'll say, "Nah, they're young." I used to think that way, but as I got older, and I look back and say, like you said, what a dumbass. How did I do that? But at the time, I thought it was either entitled or I thought it was the right thing to do. But looking back, uh,
Looking back, it could have been handled differently. It could have been done differently. But this is where the faith comes in. Who are we to judge how God has us live our lives, how God has us learn? Who are we to judge? We love without gratitude. Without gratitude, love is absent. And we forget to be grateful for ourselves, grateful for those around us, even the tests, the people who challenge the hell out of us, drive us insane.
let's not go
We got
there.
to love them. What's that?
I said, let's not go there.
And, and well, this was on the banner here. This was my inspiration from earlier today.
uh-huh.
Understand the complicated and withstand the uncomfortable. If you can convince yourself that I can understand what's complicated. What's complicated is other people. What's complicated is myself. But if I can understand the complicated, I can withstand the uncomfortable, because life does bring uncomfortable situations quite
Oh,
often.
all the time. It's amazing. I always think how we're all made up of the same flesh and blood, and yet we're all so messed up in different ways. And I guess maybe it's the nature nurture thing. I'm not really sure.
Here's something I've said this, and the more I've thought about it, the more I believe it is true. This world makes no sense unless you bring the love and intelligence of God into the equation. Because if you can't imagine that there's love and intelligence behind the chaos and disorder, you'll feel alone. And when you'll feel alone, then you'll be angry and confused. And we've got a lot of angry and confused people right now, Paul, all around this world. But
Oh, absolutely.
here's where I think, myself personally, I know how it might sound, the things that I've said, trying to speak at the UN and stuff like that. But I allowed my mind to wander. And what if? What if God could use someone like me, someone like all of us, to bring a better future into this world? Why not? Why couldn't we? I couldn't find any logical reasons. And it's the only thing that makes sense, honestly, Paul. We're all here in this mysterious, crazy existence of being a human, growing in our bodies, physically maturing in our minds and emotions, all individually and collectively, just brainwashed because of the evolution of history. And we are experiencing energetic changes based on the science that studies the sun and the earth's magnetic fields and all this stuff. We're going through some physical, energetic, spiritual transformations at this time on earth. I do believe this.
If you don't mind, Jack, I know I asked you this the last time. Just backtracking, you did mention speaking at the UN. I don't think you ever. I don't think you ever explained to me anyway what that was all about. If you don't mind.
Thank you. My idea is to serve the God of truth. The God of truth is loving, it's generous, and it's open. What has created the division and insanity in the human species is man's laws, which have divided nations and wealth and gender. So, the message for the UN and the American government is equality and peace. It's obtained through transparency, and that would mean we end the legality of secrets. So the message for the UN and the American government is secrets must end. We should allow the truth, facts, and evidence, not the opinions of some expert or authority. We should allow the facts and evidence to be widely known so that many human perspectives are involved with and guiding the directions of the greater population. We got the technology available today through the evolution of commerce. We've got the logistics where humanity has been connected all around the world, regardless of the shape of it. We're
Right.
all connected, right? And dude, there's millions and millions of human beings who could use some help right now. Faced natural disasters, wars, people fleeing the lands of their ancestors and their homelands, giving up their traditions and memories. This is a crazy time for us to live. And once I finally started waking up to that fact, holy shit, Jack, you get to live today. What do you want to do? Well, if God is real, which I'm convinced now, no doubt in my mind, God is, period. And it's up to us to accept that God is with us. And if God is with us, the truth is on our side that secrets must end, debts can be forgiven, wars can build to greater futures. If God's going to allow me to live and I can imagine and create the life I want to experience, well, I have faith that God might allow me to be some part.
If you don't mind me asking, Jack, was there one thing that made you believe in God? Was there anything in particular?
That's a great question.
Because I can go the other route and I could use that cliche, which I unfortunately go by. If there is this true being, why are we all miserable? That type of thing.
Let me offer what convinced me.
Hmm.
What convinced me was logic. I pursued the path of science, physical science and physical history. I looked at those areas of study as they're studying the patterns of what we're experiencing, right? That's what science is and all of this. So science led me into psychology. Psychology brought me into philosophy. Philosophy brought me into spirituality. And my own ego, I'm a stubborn man. I did not want to accept anything I could not explain or prove for myself. Okay. I've become comfortable that if I'm not able to explain God well enough from my definitions, there's experts I can point people to. Like for the physical aspect, Nassim Harriman, a brilliant, I don't know, physicist, scientist who's been working on the unified field theory. Um, his work combined with the work of um, Rupert Sheldrake, Terence McKenna, the unified field theory of consciousness, morphogenetic fields. So science is actually what brought me to believe in God.
But Jack, if we do believe in the science, science says that it's a myth. No, that God is a myth. No.
Hey, brother, I believe that we are the myths. God is real. We are imagined characters of consciousness, simply perceiving an experience, a very limited and short experience in the evolution of time. We're just imagined characters within the mind and perhaps the womb of our infinite creator, an expression of ideas and frequencies. It's so magical. So, regardless of what is or might be beyond us, what I really started doing was just humbling myself. What does all of this mean? It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, it matters what applies to me. And so, what I've been practicing is surrender to the moment. Eckhart Tolle talks about it as present, being present in the moment. The Buddhic philosophy is the Tao, following the way. And that's actually what Paul and his folks were going over this morning on his channel. My own thoughts on the way is that it really cannot be explained. It is your way. But what you have to learn to do is to trust when your way is the way. Oh, that's what it was. The way is not necessarily known, but when you stray from the way, it becomes obvious, if that makes sense. We are all on our own path, but our human minds, the ego overcomplicates everything, right? And so the way is the way of truth, complete honesty, right? When we are transparent with ourselves and others about how we are feeling, what is within us, you relieve yourself of the guilt ridden and fear based consciousness. You have a clear mind and you can allow yourself to be grounded in that which is. And that which is that we can know is only now. So if you can chill out, convince your mind That, okay, the past is done. It brought me to today. Today, I'm a new man. I'm rejuvenated. Science shows that. Our cells are completely renewing, rejuvenating. We are organisms of change resulting from very complex systems of change. And all that matters is how we feel, honestly. People have been taught to deny their feelings, to ignore the feelings of others, but seriously, feelings, that's that's ours.
Well, typically the male has that trouble um, expressing the feelings, and if you do express those feelings in certain ways, then you're weak. You know, if you cry, maybe you know you're a weak male. Not necessarily true.
Sorry, Paul. I actually here, yeah. I'm not. For those who join, please forgive. I'm not very good at engaging the chat. I try to stay attentive here, but yes, flow state. Welcome, brother. Yeah, humanity has enslaved itself. This is what I've been getting at. Whether you accept the words or not, this current economic system of capitalism, it profits from the divisions of authority. So humanity is literally voting for its own continuing oppression, division. We're creating our own suffering as a species by paying for wars. It's insane, man. Sons of God, being sons and daughter of the Creator, are we not co-creators in our own right? That's what I've been coming to humbly accept and believe. Clearly, it can be spiritually seen if one has not lost their spiritual sight that we are such co-creators. I believe the spiritual sight, the ability to imagine the greater pictures of unity, that this is my own definition of those words, but I believe that spiritual sight of a greater consciousness may be hidden from us based upon the design of how our minds work. Um, see, these, Paul, here's who I am. I was already kind of a smart dude, but I was a very confused man, lived in fear and denied myself the belief in God. And it created a very angry man who was miserable. But not necessarily by my choices. I made my choices. I stand behind every choice I made over the past few years,
And
but
that's a good quality to admit that. Most of us want to blame others.
amen. This is the message that I'm trying to share on my panel is excuses and blame. That's what drives us insane.
Take responsibility.
Amen. Well, and where I was going with that is over the past few years, um, here's another one. God has allowed me a lot of time to think and learn, detached from the chaos of family and relationships. And I haven't had the burden of a traditional job in quite a while. Um, but when we each go within for our own confusion, when life stacks the deck against us, or so it seems, look for the love in the answers, right? Love is that which we can be grateful for. Love is good. Because peace and abundance, man, that's our natural state of being. That's what I truly believe. We are supposed to be filled with the feelings and the knowledge of peace within us and abundance, because that's what this life, that's what nature is. It is about abundance. It's a challenge. I've been coming to appreciate this game of life, Paul.
I just happened to be looking at this chat, and Denise had mentioned people talk of love, but what is it? I'm not sure sometimes exactly what love is. Not really sure
Oh,
sometimes.
hey, I love that. So bring this idea um, into the conceptual area, in the spiritual realm. And we are images of the Creator. The Creator is the utmost intelligence, the utmost love. We got we've had many physical examples of loving beings. For me, the Christ is the one who I recommend. um, the point is as reflections, that's how our minds work, as we learn through contemplation and reflection of that which we know. And we may not know what love is, but we know what love is not. Okay. And so if you can take your knowledge of what love is not and bring it into the realm of what it is, then it can be more easily discovered. And where I'm talking about with that, for me, this is what I've been thinking about. Love, without gratitude, there is no love. People claim to love God, love themselves, love each other, but there's no gratitude being offered. My own experience, when I did allow myself to consider God, it's because I was angry and afraid. I didn't go to God as often when I was grateful. I gave my credit to the people, to whatever it was I accomplished. So without gratitude, there's no love. Without trust, people are in these relationships. They claim to love each other, but they have no trust. That's not love.
Or communication.
Amen. Communication, vulnerability.
Oh,
If there's not vulnerability between each other, then it's not honest.
but that's where that ego comes in too, with that vulnerability. Most of us don't.
Mm.
I did it for many years. I didn't want to let myself out there. Just didn't want to. But finally, I did quite a bit.
It's when I look back at myself honestly, at all the things I held myself back from, God, I was shameful. I was so angry at myself for a while. But this is our lifetime to grow and discover ourselves apart and together. We got another special guest.
Okay.
Welcome, brother. It's a pleasure and honor to see you again today. Is that really?
Greetings.
It is.
That's
It
It's the
is.
gorilla itself in all its glory. The white
And its
gorilla.
off and its offspring. Oh, wait.
Oh,
no, he's
he's
my
not
daddy. I'm the offspring.
right.
You
Well, look at
guys.
what sprung off of me and my likeness and beingness, a conversation with you two. See how I am the God of all media? I've given birth to a
We'll see how long that
beautiful
lasts.
facilitation. You and Jack Talcott, my father and Jack Talcott.
Well, I think we
Paul,
have some. I think we have something in common. I really do, and I'm.
Oh,
Uh,
I agree with that.
I think that Jack brings a lot of spirituality that I'm trying to learn. Not talking about politics, just trying to get that.
Why did you never show this much enthusiasm in learning with me?
Well, when I try. You really want
Was
to
it
get into this
available?
conversation. Every time I try to, all you do is talk over me and curse me out. So,
So you come
yeah,
to me like you come to Jack, like remember the Mafia movie, The Godfather? You never
of
once
course.
came to me and had a cup of coffee with me. If you
Cup of coffee.
had, now we would be in better graces. So you
Well, but
don't come to
you're
me
not
the way
willing,
you. No, sir.
but you're not willing
You
to listen to me, and that's the problem.
Maybe in the past, but
Okay.
you know
So
what?
could you imagine somebody comes to somebody to learn more? Supposedly, is the theory about spirituality then says the person won't listen to them? What kind of bizarre construct is that? So you go to like a Christed being who has something you need, whether you know it or not, and then say, but he won't listen to me? How does that work? You have two ears and one mouth. You're supposed to listen twice as much as you speak. If
I'd
you're in
like
need,
I'd like to answer this from my own, not necessarily direct experience, but we learn best from those who listen to us as well, so that we can share in the perspectives and understandings
right?
better.
Because
And
you
when
want
the
a
time is
relationship
spent,
with people.
right.
Instead of a relationship with God, you want to relate to other men and women for whom there is little to no salvation other than that force. So that
Paul,
is folly.
how about this? We know God best through understanding ourselves, and we understand ourselves through the gift of relationships with
I
others.
don't agree with that. Self knowledge
But
does not come from
consider it, consider it,
external
please.
validating sources. I don't agree. If you, as
Correct.
a matter of fact, if you go into this world as a true self, you will come out destroyed and insane by reflecting what you see around you. So I
That
completely
can
disagree
be.
that self-knowledge comes from knowing other versions of self who don't know themselves. No, that's how you lose yourself in this world.
Paul, it's dynamic, and there's a time and place for each. Okay. And what I'm just suggesting is the topic that you were discussing about your father and you having discussions of spirituality and greater topics. That's where I
Right.
was going with it. Hey, we got another
The pastor?
I'm
Is it the pastor?
no, it's almost as bad, but
Oh no,
Oh,
fast. An
we're bringing them
Italian
all over
greaseball
here, boy.
meatball.
Oh boy.
Lou, you're a
Yeah,
character.
we
And
gotta
I'm
we gotta make room. It's starting to smell like
I don't want.
anti-pasta.
I don't want to cause shit. I just, from my
then
heart,
don't.
if I can say or do anything to be of value, that's all I wish to do. That's all. If I
You want
can't,
to
I'll
be
just be
you want to
quiet
be of
and listen.
value, Lou?
Yes,
Leave.
sir.
No, just kidding.
Half
Just
to.
I'm
kidding. Just kidding.
convinced that. No, hey, um, Senior and I were having some I thought fun conversations, some pretty interesting ones, and you know, my purpose today is to invite any and all who want to discuss peace, right? What does it mean? Peace is so important
Even the
because it's
gimp.
what?
Even the gimp.
Oh yeah, the gimp's down there. Is Paul unshaved? He's got the money bags. He's
Oh,
got the chart.
that's what Jack's
Yeah,
Is
telling
that
you.
Paul?
yeah.
That Paul and
It's his
Dave?
whole life story. Is how to shit on me and demean me, and he's got money bags down there, a chart
I
with
saw
lines
that. I
going up.
saw that.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
official player hating when they take your imagery and then hate on you pocket watching because you're doing well, better than you've ever been. That's where you want to be, right? If
but
they ain't hating, you ain't doing something right.
Jack owned up to it though. He didn't have to do
It's
that.
true. Hey, I thought that was pretty hilarious, and to know that it was Mitch too. That's just even better. Holy crap, man.
Professional hater. He's got a PhD, player hater degree. He's a professional.
But brother, it worked to your benefit. So
It always does.
it well this
See
is
that grace and mercy and blessing, how it comes through for the old boy?
Paul,
Right?
Paul,
No
this
matter
is
how
the
fucked up
thing.
and rude and obnoxious and verbose I am, man.
I know. Imagine if you weren't fucked up and rude and verbose. Imagine how much
No,
more
then
the
I'd lose
blessings
all
would
my
flow
power
in.
being inauthentic like you and the rest. Come on,
I
Jack. I'm not in this for
disagree.
political positioning.
I disagree, Paul. And I challenge you to prove me wrong.
Have you not
Try
watched
it.
God test everyone to kill themselves, each other, and their children, and laugh in everybody's face over the past 3 years at their ineptness and ego and ignorance? What makes you think I don't have a similar sense of humor as the creative force, that it's not within me, right? It allows all
Well,
things while giving critique through experience, and then watching these slaves degenerate, defile, degrade, disempower. This has been going on since the beginning of time. What makes you think
right.
it's going to stop right now?
Well, because here's two things with that, Paul. You're right. We can carry that same mindset as the creator and laugh at the fools who are choosing to participate and to suffer. We can do that, but I know you care.
Of course.
Right. And so it's not healthy to laugh at those we care about when they're suffering. It's just
Well,
not.
a mistake is only a mistake as long as you refuse to correct it, right? Once you refuse to
True.
correct it, then it becomes an ignorant choice to do the same thing
Yep.
you've always done and get what you've always got. So when that comes, you get two options. Hey, son, you're doing the same thing you've always done. You're going to get what you've always got. And then the surrender comes. You want to continue to do that? I'm going to mock you. Like almost
Well,
like a father would, in a sense. Hey, I didn't want to say I told you so, but look at you acting goofy again, going out with these people, giving your power away in the same place you're looking for it. You're acting like a fool, right? So it's not really laughing. It's just mocking and humiliation, which is meant to bring somebody back in order. There's a place for all the emotions we experience and feel if we would stop ignoring their purpose: guilt, shame, humiliation, mockery. It all has a place in the creation if we would use it instead of let it break us.
hey, you bring up a good point. There is a point to the mockery and putting people on
Like putting
notice.
a whole bunch of slaves made in the image of the
The,
Most High, covering their image, right? And making their air to breathe not free to breathe anymore. It's a perfect mocking for a bunch of animal, dog-like slaves who care not for themselves and the truth in the future. What better thing to do than put a bunch of animal-like slaves in muzzles? It's a great
right. The
mocking sorcery experience for everyone to learn.
yes. And that's just it. There are those. I have no doubt. There's those who have believed themselves to be separated, right? Call themselves the chosen people and whatever. There's been divisions and deceptions from the beginning. And there's many, I believe, there's some of those who believe that their role here on earth is to bring the darkness, to bring the suffering, to bring humanity to its knees so that we do finally turn to the light. I did that myself. I embraced the light. I've got light to offer and to share. And that's where the time and the shift is changing. Because Paul, we gotta accept the fact that if wars and problems are continuing and we are not working to end them, then we're enabling the problems and the things we know about.
Yeah, but I've already explained to you that you don't get a mechanism from where you are to where wars start and end. You get a mechanism to control your inner space and to show others something that wants them to be like that so they control their inner space. And then by virtue of that process, which is a long game, at some point self-governance is achieved on such a scale that it becomes impossible to ignore. But that first requires you to stop giving your attention, energy, and focus away to the people running this world. You have to run your inner space,
Right.
run your life, run your business, run your community,
You.
and all things else will be taken care of by virtue of the fact of the interconnectivity of creation. It's exponential. It's a genetic, epigenetic process. The more we think, feel, choose, do, create, the more others are influenced directly or indirectly. So be
Right.
the change, and the change will follow. It's that
That's what
simple.
I'm
There's
doing.
nothing else to be done.
Well, What's left
Stop
to
the
be
war
done,
within.
right? What's left to be done is everything that we are allowed to do. And I have no more conflicts within me. I'm inviting, I have been inviting, and I'm continuing to invite others to join me in efforts of peace. That includes my family and friends and neighbors, but I told my story. It brought me to today.
Yeah, I think you're at the point now where, like we never know what people are going to do. I mean, I've had to let go of most of my family at different times in certain ways because they're dissolute. They're not
Well,
resolute. They're not resolute people. They don't want resolution in their life. They want revolution, complete circle. They've shown me that.
maybe that was the past, but we all
Sure,
grow and
the
change.
present is always here. Everyone has the opportunity. This is the whole game. I'm going to reach out to folks who won't reach within. Like, this would be my folly and foolishness. Again, I don't need anything from these people. They need something
No,
from me. They need
right.
something from themselves in the creation that they won't get.
And if we keep ourselves apart, how do we offer what we have available to
I'm
share?
an open door, man. Motherfuckers' egos are crazy.
Well, Paul, come on now.
I
I
don't
couldn't
show up
even ask
every
for
day
the
for
link.
myself and others 8, 10, 12 hours a day and give away everything I am and know. What else could I love you with? Some feeling space you want to achieve inside of me? You want to merge with me?
Paul, please consider me a little bit different than some of the others
I
because
do.
you do make it difficult for me to speak to you. And I'm probably not the only one on this panel who feels that way.
Yeah, I make it difficult for people to speak to me in a way they're used to, which is
Well,
half-assed, half-hearted, and without meaning and
no,
understanding.
meaning they want to speak to you as themselves instead of your
That's the
version.
problem.
But here's the thing, to understand each other, we've got to accept. This is the feminine aspect, Paul, that I encourage people to consider, the aspect of acceptance. Because if we stay separated, if we stay apart, then we're going to continue what you said, fighting and looping and doing all that. But
I
if
don't
we
see
accept,
separation. I don't see
you do,
separation and
Paul,
apartness. No, how could you tell me what I see? I see
in
the
your
potential for oneness and unification, which is inherent in creation. There's only one point of awareness. We all have it.
well, but
Okay.
this
I
is
see
where
a
I
bunch of people
encourage
who see
you.
I, me, you, and them, and therefore we can't relate on the truest.
Well, I'm not sure where you're going with that, but I see
Let
the
me take you
I
there. If you don't
as
stand
in,
for rights, freedom, principles, and put your ass on the line, you don't get an opportunity to
right,
experience what I do,
Paul.
not with me or next to me. It doesn't work that way.
Paul, this is where you and I have some disagreements. Your judgment, discernment, whatever word you want to choose, is not flawless. Okay? So that's why I encourage you to start accepting people for what they say, until proven otherwise,
What makes you think it's not already proven otherwise? You haven't apprehended it.
because of my personal experience with you, Paul.
Right. Yeah, I'm above the influence of other people's thoughts, emotions, and actions. It would have to be that way to be inspired, secure, and empowered, and confident in my ability.
Well, that's a partial truth, but you do allow yourself to be distracted and influenced by the words and choices of others. Okay? I've seen
What's
it. You've
flawed?
got to know it. What's that?
Sorry, what do you
That's a
see?
subjective
What
opinion,
is the flaw? What's the flaws you see in those things that he said? I think he said
Honesty. The lack
rights,
of,
freedoms, all those things. What
well,
is the
because
flaw that you see in that?
I've answered this many times, but here, the
Okay,
answer, the problem I
maybe I
see,
forgot.
Lou, right. My opinion
Yeah,
of the problems I see is that Paul has a self-focused definition. It's Paul's rights, Paul's freedom, Paul's property
Wait a
that
second.
he's
So I
going to
was
make
out there standing on my right to travel or everyone else's right that they won't stand on?
that was in the past, but you're standing
No, I
on
still do
memories
that.
and
I still do that
imaginations.
when appropriate, right?
Well, what I'm offering is you stand on your memories and place yourself
Wait,
above others based
so
on
this
fucking
isn't a
memory.
lifestyle that I'm living currently. This is a memory of a
I only see what you show, and I see a man much
right.
like me who spends a lot of time online talking the talk. But
Lately.
well,
So
you're
you want
right.
to see me out in the street getting arrested again and really,
No, I don't want to see that.
proving
What I
that I live this way for you? Because you
oh,
don't. So I got to prove it to
golly,
you and
geez,
others.
you are such a frustrating young
I
man.
know. And you donated to me today, too, which proves I'm above the influence. Money ain't going to
Right, I
stop
know.
me
But
from being a prick.
here's
Right?
Paul.
Jack,
Lou, let me answer
Jack,
Paul
can
just
I ask
briefly.
you? Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
Paul,
Hey, what's
thank you,
true,
Lou.
what's right is true, and what's right. Go ask the folks in the tribe, right? They come out, they
Well,
got 3 words to say in their war dance. What's right is always right. It ain't
let
your
me
right, my right, his right. It's what's right is always right. If you don't stand on that, then you're an enemy combatant, and then they go to war with you. They cut your fucking
Paul,
head off.
back
So go
back
argue
to
with
the,
them about it. Want me to pull up the dance for you and how it goes?
no. What I wanted to say is, golly geez, damn it.
Don't get
Christ,
upset, Jack. Just
bring the
relax.
infidel before me and behead the motherfucker, right?
Oh, the
You want to
future.
talk to me about
No,
words.
hold on a minute, Paul. No, I don't want to see you getting thrown in jail exercising your rights. No, I don't want to see any harm come to you or any others. No,
Well,
I
it's
don't
liable to
want
happen
that.
because nobody else is doing it.
What I do want to see, Paul, what I would love to see, Paul, is you and me finding a way to help both of us reach greater people, greater numbers, so that we can find a way to convince to get this fool. Let's create an opportunity for me to fail. Let's see if I can fail to convince the
Oh,
UN
we
banned
just did
legal
that again.
secrets.
That
Well,
worked.
let's get me there first, and let's see how it
We
works
just did
out.
it. We just did it here today. We created an opportunity for you to fail, and you came through big time. So,
What does it take, Jack, for good men? What does it take for bad men to prosper?
Good men to do nothing.
Right. And so the things that Paul said about standing on the rights, standing on the freedoms, fighting for what's true and what's right, is that not a good man doing something? I mean, that's the way I see it now. A while ago,
Lou,
maybe not too
Lou,
long ago,
okay,
I
back
thought,
to you. Lou, you start one direction and then you take off in another direction and you
no, I
completely
just wanted to say I felt
right.
differently
Let
not too
me
long ago,
answer. I see
but
the value
hadn't
for
finished.
the
I hadn't finished. But go ahead. Go ahead. I hadn't finished, but it's okay. Go ahead.
well, please entertain us, Lou.
No, I just wanted to say that didn't think of that this way up until recently, relatively recently. I had the idea that I should fight the battles that I could win, and I think there at some point I even said that to Paul, right? And
and
I
I
believe
probably
that.
said something along the lines of only a punk ass coward shows up to fight. They
Yeah,
know they're going to
probably.
win. Somebody who's thorough shows up every time, especially when they're going to lose.
Yeah,
That's the whole
and
point of riding a lifestyle is you're supposed to take a beating and keep ticking.
I
Isn't that
believe
what a
that,
man of
right?
honor on the street even will tell you? You don't show up when you're going to win. You show up every time, especially when you're going to lose. Because if you don't show up, I'm there fighting alone. So you better fucking show up, or me and you are going to have a problem. I don't want motherfuckers around me
True.
that only show up when they know they're going to win. They better show up when they know
Well,
we might lose.
right.
Don't show up at all.
A true warrior knows when it's time to garden and when it's time to fight.
Right.
Okay. Not every fight is worthy of time and attention.
Does it look like I've been
Every
fighting
battle.
anybody? You must not know what fighting looks like. You've been
Do you
doing too
think
much
it's time
fucking.
for
You don't know what
gardening right
fighting
now?
looks like. I haven't been fighting nobody. I've been standing on what's true and
Well,
what's right. They've been trying
tell
to
you
fight
what.
me.
Tell you what,
Do you
I
think
was trying to say something, and Lou was so fucking adamant. He
He's an
finished what he
agent of
was
chaos.
saying. So, what was your point, Lou?
I just
Meatball.
wanted to say that I think that people can change how they think, how they feel if they keep
Right,
themselves open, right? And you
right.
said about a smart warrior knows when to fight, knows when to garden. My question to you would be, do you believe right now, with everything that's been happening, is it time to garden or is it time to fight? In your opinion, of course.
I am right here trying to plant seeds of faith, trying to water and garden the potential inspirations of anyone who tunes in, because without growth, without that open mind, Lou, well, then we stay gossiping and complaining and bitching about the things that we could be spending times fixing. Does that answer your question, Lou?
Okay, I heard the answer. I don't know. It didn't answer whether it's time to garden or fight. I don't think. Is it time to garden right now? Based on the last few years, you've
Lou,
seen what's happened. Is
the
it time
only
to
thing,
garden?
Lou, where it depends on where you're at. Are we in Lou's mind or are we right here? Because I've answered my purpose of gardening and expressing strength right here. Now the strength is with forward thought. I'm sharing my energy, my attention, trying to plant the ideas of wisdom or a faith in God. Um, Maybe activate a little bit of effort, a little bit of action towards the ideas of success and goals, so that the movement, start with the faith, bring in the movement, the actions will start the well, it starts the movements towards achievement. So we can sit around and imagine battles all day, Lou. But so what do you think? What do you think right now in the time of Lou Bass, sharing time with us and the other people who might be tuning in? Is this a time for gardening or for battle?
Well, I personally believe that it's been a time for battle for a long time. But the battle, I believe, is right here, right? Because if I don't take control of my own willingness to stand firm on what's true and what's right, then there's no point. The battle is already lost,
Right.
right? Because
Don't you think?
I have no control over what you do. I have no
Right.
control over what Paul does. I have no control over what anybody does. I only have control over what I do. And if I can be an example to even anybody that I'm standing on what's right and what's true, and I'm willing to, possibly even die for it, because I have children, because I have grandchildren, and if I'm not willing to die for them, who should I be willing to die for? Right? Then if I can't do that,
What if you're
then
fooling yourself? What if you're lying to yourself, though?
I don't know. If you do, you think I'm lying to myself with what I just said? So
Well,
what
in
would
my
you suggest to
experience,
do?
we all, I've been growing in my own, but we all can increase our humility.
Okay.
Stop the arrogance that you think you know, because you're looping of what you claim. You present yourself like you're some friggin' expert in the field of human diet. And I'm not trying to get us going that direction, but it's being used as an example. Humility means sometimes you don't know. Now, from your experience, but when
Yes.
you're just talking about things you've heard other people say, brother, we all have to recognize that we influence each other in many ways, and we are all examples for each other.
So
Lou,
when I go everywhere, go, hey, I sacrifice my time, energy, attention, life for the truth, and maybe even my ass. That's a lack of humility, showing a quality of selflessness by
it depends on the
sacrificing myself.
purpose.
So humility is taking government money and not standing for rights and freedoms while others do, and then claiming you're more important than them by not doing that action, which is an implicit
Who do you
thing.
think? You're
You're taking
describing.
I don't
money,
see who
Paul.
else is so self-important they can't stand for rights and freedoms while other people do and bear the consequences. That seems like a lack of humility, while I and others are showing
Well,
ultimate humility, selflessness.
You hear your arrogance.
You don't think
There's
I'd
no-
like to not stand for rights and freedoms? It's all that I had. And ironically,
Right.
it became my living as well. The
And
career.
that was the
All I
past.
had as a principal and as a core.
Right.
No, it's right here, right now. It's the light
Well,
I'm shining right here, right now. You don't feel
no,
that?
right here and right now is peace that's available for all of us to share.
Right here, right now is blind ignorance.
Well, no, the memories you're sharing are just that.
Self-importance.
That is
Entitlement.
what you're doing. Yes.
Unthankfulness, ungratefulness,
That
lack of
is
will
what
and
you're
discipline,
showing.
lack of application, lack
That
of
is what
faith.
you're showing.
If you had
Yes.
faith, you'd stand on what's true and what's right, and you'd give up the worldly ways and their systems.
If you had faith, you would start thinking beyond yourself and recognizing
I
there are
am. It's
forces
cosmic
at play.
consciousness. I don't.
Well,
I
Paul,
think cause and effect, objective
why
logic,
do you,
ethics,
Paul,
conscious
here,
faith. Everyone has it.
Paul, you're a very logical man, okay? And I respect that. That's why I admire you. But logic, shit, I forgot where I was going. Oh,
That's-
You really
logic.
see,
No,
you really
here.
see him as
Hold
a
on.
logic?
Here,
You don't see the spirit in him?
yes, the spiritual aspect of logic, okay? God is good. Okay, so seek the good.
So God is just good. It's not the all.
Who defines good? Only you
Right.
define good. So,
Oh, I'd rather
you
not
can
even
see-
get into that rather than to communicate a concept of duality.
well,
because
actually,
ultimately, there's only
fine.
choice to do the
let's
will or your
go-
will.
Let's go your way. So, yes, the all is God. So see the all as good. And if you can see the all as good, well, that includes Lou as good.
And evil as part of your greatest teacher and tester to become the man
Amen.
you need to be for yourself and others. So start doing it.
Amen. So that means God allowed us this good moment together, and we've all learned everything that brought us to today. So now that we know what is good and what is within us, what does it mean? What do we do from here? Today is where we get to imagine the future and take the actions to try and experience that which we want. to
Yeah, I'm
experience.
pretty like humble. I have humility, so I don't perceive that I
Well,
imagine a present and
Well-
future. I think it's an eternal truth that's always been here that we've rediscovered and are now
Right.
applying. So
Right.
I, again, not exemplifying a lack of humility. You are thinking you're going to reimagine the wheel in creation and override it. It's
No.
laughable. There's nothing new under the
No.
sun.
Paul, I allow the truth to be true from many different perspectives. I align myself with the most objective truth that I can discover about myself, each other, you,
Yeah, I'm not
and the
seeing.
greater realm we live
I'm
in.
not seeing that. I'm not
Well,
experiencing.
your vision is limited by your ego.
Of course, it
This
would
is
have to
what
be
I'm
that.
saying.
My ego, definitely not yours.
Well, my ego doesn't limit me
Yeah,
from
it's not like I have
imagining-
any results to point to or anything.
Results are judged in your head. I mean, the
Really?
result of
Results are not on
everything.
paper,
Paul.
like black and white in front of you, tangible.
Paul.
They're
Right.
in everyone's head.
The good results of everything that was is being experienced right now
Okay.
through us. We're all sharing this together.
Right.
There is no I individually. It is we that are one, until we imagine reasons to keep us divided, to think we're different.
Okay. So these are all imaginatory hallucinations, like on the
Very
battlefield,
possible.
dealing with
Yep.
policy enforcement, dealing with life on life's terms, creating
Yep.
habits for success, minding our own business, being financially secure and successful based on our internal fortitude and ethic.
It's all
So
it's all
this is all just
perspective.
imagine. The results aren't there. There's no cause
Well,
and effect. There's no growth.
No one said any of that.
integration
No one
and
said any of
empowerment.
this. No reason to start painting this false
I
narrative.
was just clarifying how much of this is my imagination versus actual results and growth and learning
How
and becoming
about
self-actualized and
both?
realized.
It's both. It is both an expression of the divine imagination, which is experienced outside of us and within us. And then within us is also our own limited imagination, memories, and experiences. So we are the combination of both. We are nothing more than this time together. So we're nothing less either. We're a perfect expression of the magnificence. So when we stop comparing,
and then there's choice.
Right. Choice
which
to accept
defines you.
The choice to
the choices you make define you as a being here in this realm.
Right.
3 dimensions.
You're either truthful or not.
You're either on record with actions and results, or you're just yapping.
You're either truthful as yourself or you are not. And I am a very open, authentic, transparent, very easily reached man. I have no boundaries or divisions between us, Paul.
Right, except for your choices, which define you.
Well, your definitions, I've been challenging your definitions.
Mine. We've all agreed on them.
Your definitions are what interfere us from getting along.
This is a fascinating game that you're playing, and
I'm fucking loving it.
Know where it all leads, because I again get to be me and you get to be you in our own experience with our choices that define us.
Yes, we are co-creating this moment, and the future will result from our choices apart and together. It's fascinating how much responsibility, how much opportunity we offer and share with each other just from the mere existence and experience of sharing time. It's
the even more fascinating part is maybe when you leave out of here and then we have to share accountability for who we've been and the choices that defined us while we were here.
God reveals us. We make the choices that last and carry with us. But the choices of the past don't have to define or control us in the future.
They don't.
Right.
It's just a data point for reflection.
Amen. I love that idea. And actually, it's a data point. It can be used. The NLP uses these ideas of anchors, right? So a data point, an anchor of the past, it can either hold us back or it can give us strength and move us forward. But
you let the past move you forward without forgetting where you came from.
Amen. Being grateful for where you came from, because where you came from created who you are today.
Right.
And that goes back to the self-love. If you can love yourself today with compassion, with honesty, without regret, you'll build yourself into the image of who you want to be for the future.
Right. And part of loving yourself honestly is admitting to yourself in the mirror you've been a punk ass fucking coward all your life, not really applied yourself to anything worthy and redeemable in the eyes of God, and start to do that here and now and let your choices define you.
Hey, Paul, it's funny you say that, because that's the exact conversation I had with myself. And that was after serving the military as a kid, serving the public for most of my adult life as a public servant, and being a leader in my small movement of the union in the labor area. So when I looked at myself in the mirror and said, yeah, punk, you've been holding yourself back, Jack. Enough of this shit. Time to do more. That's when I lost the respect of everyone around me. It's fucking funny. And that's where I got to dig inside of myself to discover maybe what God might have within me that I didn't know about. And I'm encouraging everyone, find that fire within you. Find that reason to change. Find that reason to become the man or woman you want to be proud of.
Can I just say something for a sec? Have you finished, Jack?
Please.
Or were you not finished?
No, please go ahead.
I just wanted to say about finding that fire within. And for several years now, I had, I think I put that fire out willingly on my own. I kind of like gave up. I centered myself in a place of defeat. And I have to say, it's just, I don't give a fuck that the white gorilla's here. I don't want to say it directly to him, but the truth is the truth. Because of this white gorilla, that fire has been sparked again.
I believe
And
that.
I am no longer in the place I was I think it's only been like 6 months or something like that. I don't know how long, whatever it's been, but I am definitely no longer in the place I was 6 months ago. 6 months ago, my daughter may have had every right to say, fuck you, I'm leaving. I don't, shouldn't be here. I don't think she can, oh, well, she can say whatever she wants, but I don't think I'm the same guy that she could have said that to 6 months ago. And I have to give, obviously, I thank myself because I was open enough to accept, the truth. Because I could have closed myself to it because he fucking acts like a gorilla sometimes. And you want to fucking hang him or something. But the truth is the truth. Even if it's coming from an enemy or a crazy man, or a schizophrenic or a woman or whatever. There's a lot of smart women. Don't take that the wrong way. Please, women. But you know what I mean? So
the women you deal with.
The women
we use the word women loosely too.
The women I deal with, yes. No, I have some good women around me actually. But I mean, like, in the sense of not a woman, but those toxic females like fucking Sun Piz, those women that you can't wait to get the fuck away from. I'm talking about that kind of woman. Even if it's coming from someone like that, if it's the truth, it's the truth. And if you don't open yourself to it, then you're the fool. And if you don't allow it in, then you're the fool.
Amen, brother. Along those lines, here, I get what you were saying, and Lou, I have no doubt. I've said this clearly and often. I have seen a lot of growth from participants and even those people sharing stories in the chat from what Paul's doing. Okay. I'm not minimizing any of that. Now, the other thing that you were saying though, Lou, is it's not just accepting the truth. For everyone, please challenge yourself. Get excited to learn that you were wrong, right? Learn the opposite of what you believe to try and figure out what the hell is true, because this world, it's designed against us all. It's part of the game. The miraculous game of life from the expression of love and consciousness. It's a game for us to grow in divinity, to grow in magnificence, to grow in perfection. But this world teaches us to believe that we're not worthy of many things, but we are. Everyone is. So, Lou, it's not just a matter of accepting the truth, it's being excited. Every day alive is a new day to learn different things. Who knows what your spirit might bring you if you start asking different questions. That's where my life started.
And that's another thing. Sorry to interrupt you, but that's another thing that I have again. I do have that excitement again.
Good.
I'm no longer feeling defeated. I'm excited for the future. I know things are going to be. going to be okay. Even though right now it might be some difficulty with my oldest daughter, but I know in my heart that I see the day already. It's like I can see it where we're going to have a much closer bond, and maybe sooner than I even believe. But I see it. It's going to
Hey,
come. I have that hopeful excitement again. I didn't have it for a long time, a
hey,
very
brother,
long.
let me let me bring this in to what you were just saying. It's the Neville Goddard. It's the old wisdom that's coming to light. It's about the faith. Okay, so yeah, you're facing a problem, you're facing a challenge, maybe some uncertainty, maybe you don't even know when it's going to end. But if you can envision the result, the success you want, the reunification, the embrace, the care, the respect of your family, if you bring that vision into your frequencies, if you can feel that prayer already having been answered in your imagination and your physical being, that's what the power of prayer is. That's what the book of Thomas was talking about and all this stuff.
And would it not be fair for me to say to you, to turn this back to you and say, would it not be smarter for you, or maybe not smarter, but more fruitful for you to focus that your life on that sort, like bringing back, or being reconnected with your, rather than going to speak at the UN and stopping all wars? Yeah, that's all great stuff. But if you can refocus yourself to a little bit smaller area and accomplish that, then maybe those bigger things, once you conquer those, or once you've
Hey,
manifested those, then you can maybe have more strength to manifest the other things.
The
And
journey of
maybe
1,000 miles begins with a single step. If you want to carry away a mountain, start by carrying away small stones. You've been
one
working on
stone.
speaking at the UN for 5 years. You've gotten no closer in the last 5 years than you started. The difference is I'm getting closer every day by
hold on.
doing in the truth, life, and way. You're not. So you want
Hold
to
on.
be a star overnight, like most
No,
people.
that's
You don't want to
untrue.
get it out the mud the right way.
That's untrue. It's untrue what you're saying. So, Lou, one of the things I learned from one of the coaches that influenced me is the idea of yes and I don't know how others are unable to imagine this, but to me it's a yes and between the UN and my son. If I can succeed in the direction towards speaking at the UN, guess what? My son would probably learn about me and maybe start wanting to ask questions about his father again. Or if I go the other direction and I reunite with my son, well, then I don't spend my days all alone here in Spokane, and maybe you guys won't see me as much on the online stuff because I'll have some support moving me in the direction towards trying to speak at the UN. So they go together. Success brings success. And I don't waste my time focusing on the failures or how to avoid the failures anymore. I focus on success. And if I got to sacrifice a little time, a little energy, or even money towards what I believe is success in me, I'll bring this whole damn world up. We'll raise it all together, man.
I
Because
told you the way it starts, Talcott, especially the way
where we
you
go
want to do it.
one, we go all. There is no separation. And the Christ said he'd leave the 99 to go back for the one. I'm here to grab them all. We're all here. I'm just here extending my arms to you guys and anyone who listens and say, hey, extend your arms to the brothers and sisters around you and let's see what we can do. This is our lifetime to bring the change.
But you can't grab them all, I don't think, Jack. It's like the story of the kid
Hey,
walking on
Lou,
the
how
beach.
about focus on
First
how
of
many
all,
you can
you can't
instead of
lead where
making
you haven't gone,
excuses?
and you can't show what you don't know. So
What are you
you
saying?
say
I
you want to
speak
go back to
words.
grab everybody metaphorically. Where are you going
Yeah,
to
it's
lead
a
everybody
figure of
to? Where you
speech.
haven't gone? Give them
Right.
what you don't know?
Paul, God will determine the success or failures. I offer the wisdom that God has allowed
No,
me to
the
learn.
chosen people are to be led out of slavery and genocide of their own making by not worshiping the earthly masters and turning back to the conscience-based principles and true value
Right.
system of what you call the creator and this universal program.
Right. You
So those
obviously
who have been
haven't thought
called and
through
chosen
my
will then have to
goals.
do what's necessary to create a kingdom of heaven on earth.
It's
If
here
not, you will
for us to
manifest a
repeat,
hell for
Paul.
yourself and others in your actions and
Paul,
inactions.
you're
It's that simple.
mistaken.
I'm not mistaken. I
You are
have a
mistaken.
lifetime and a lifelong history and my story
Your
to
life is not the
conclude
only
what history
one
shows.
that
If you
has
don't learn the
truth.
lessons of history, you will repeat them. We're repeating them
Right.
now for our
You're
actions and inactions.
repeating, Paul, you're repeating the
I
same
already
patterns
told
of
you it's a data
disagreement.
point for reflection. Stop being
You
so
can
fearful of the past
start a
and
new data
learn from
point.
it. Stop
What are
being
you
so
doing?
fearful of it and
I
powerless to
have,
it and
Paul, what are
learn from
your,
it.
see, your accusations lack any specificity. You
If you
just
didn't have
ramble
fear
on
and
and on with your
trepidation
false
toward the past,
narrative.
you wouldn't keep ignoring it and getting
Paul,
reactive to it.
I'm here and now with focus on the future. You're the one who's
Here and
trying
now to
to
avoid accountability
disbelief.
for past mistakes and not correct them in
Paul,
the future,
tell
just
you
like
what,
everyone.
I'm going to take a break here.
Can I ask? Sorry, I was just gonna say about Paul Senior there. Uh, did you lose some weight? You look like you lost. You look a lot thinner in your face. Um, I'm sorry if I'm asking a personal question, but you just look
No,
like you lost a little bit of weight. I don't know.
I had lost 37 pounds in the last couple of years.
Oh, that's good. No, even since the last time I seen you, you look like you've lost some weight, which is good. I got to do that this summer. I got to fricking lose at least 50 pounds. Like,
It's not easy.
I know. My freaking problem is like I'm a fucking bread junkie. It's like yesterday. Oh
How
my
tall are
god,
you?
I'm 6 foot.
50 pounds seems like a lot.
Well, I'm probably about. I don't know. I haven't weighed myself in a while, but I'd say I'm about probably pretty close to 255, 260.
Oh, no shit. Yeah, you got to bring
So
that down.
yeah, I got to go at least 50 pounds down. Maybe I'm not 260, but 250 for sure. And yeah, I definitely, yesterday, oh my God, I feel like such an idiot. I was in this little town close to me that has this little bakery, and they sell these buns that are like, oh my Lord, they're the best buns in the world, and they're always warm. So I bought 6 buns and I gave 2 to my tenant. They were still warm. And I brought the other ones in and I put some butter on one and ate it. And fuck, within, I don't
Okay,
think a
so
half
there
an
you go.
hour.
I was just going to say you're
Yeah, well,
morbidly obese, and I don't think it's the grains doing it. I think maybe it's all the butter you're putting on the bread.
no, it's the bread.
Okay.
And I ate all fucking 4 buns within
Right,
like,
because Lou
I don't know.
subscribes to the school of the more animal fat, the better off you are. So it's not the butter and lard that's a problem; it's the grains.
Well, I know how my body reacts when I'm fat adapted. I lose weight. When I'm carbohydrate adapted, I gain weight. That's
Yeah, your
just my own
fucking
personal
brain
experience.
starts depleting. You notice a weight reduction on the scale.
The other thing I wanted to say, Senior, you know, just a week ago, a friend of mine passed away. He was yeah, I think he was a couple years older than me, but roughly my age. I think he was 62, and I'm 60, and he passed away. He was having trouble with drugs his whole life, and he never was able to get off. He just could never get off. And in his last days, I believe he was on methadone. I hadn't seen him for a long time, so and I told my parents, and these are friends of his father is good friends with my father, and they've known each other for 65 years, and prior to me being even born, they've known each other, and I told him, I said, "Hey, Dad, Johnny died," and first things out of his mouth, yeah, he probably was overdosed, but I said, what the fuck? I'm telling you, Johnny died. Johnny, I'm not going to say his last name, but, and that's all you can say? Like, that's, the guy's dead. You can't forgive him even now? Right? That's all he's got in his mind, right? My father's 85 years old. So I'm telling this story because I would, I don't know how you feel, you don't feel. You know you, I don't know you very well. I mean, I know the little bit that I've seen you here. And I would just say that that's a pretty sad place to be. Like my parents are 80, my father's 85, my mother's like 75. And any little thing, that's all they see, that I was a drug addict. You know, my wife, when we split up, she split the marriage up. It wasn't me. I didn't choose the marriage to be broken. But the first thing, oh, are you doing drugs again? Oh, you're on drugs. That's why she's leaving. Like, what the fuck? Really? And they're still got this mindset at their age. I'm 60 years old. I have 4 children. I have 2 grandchildren. I do my utmost to protect and take care of them, but that's all they can see, that I wasn't the son that they could show off, that they could be proud
Hey,
of. They
Lou.
still don't have it.
Hey,
And I
Lou.
just say that it's a bad
Hey,
place to
Lou,
be.
can we get back to Jack by any chance? Instead
Yeah,
of you
yeah,
trying to bring up how my father said my eyes were pinned like I was on heroin. When
I don't want to. I don't
Right.
want to make it a bad.
No,
I
no,
don't want
no,
to
no,
make it an
no.
Well-
argument.
Never. Sorry.
I don't
See,
want to
here
make
we
it
go
an
again.
argument. I would prefer.
I never intimated that. See, there's the
Okay,
mistruth again.
I don't want to start an argument, Paul.
No,
Senior.
but that's
So what's
not what
Right.
what's
I
meant to
was
be
not
communicated?
implying that.
What's
No,
meant
no,
to be?
no.
I have one
Sorry,
question,
see,
and we'll move on.
it's-
What's meant to be
it's-
communicated to the viewers by saying my eyes are pinned when your eyes only get pinned when you're on opiates?
Okay, well, I wasn't referring to that. I don't
Oh.
believe I would know that when you were on opiates. So if I misstated a certain thing, but the
Okay, so
truth
you
is,
misstated that my eyes were pinned, and we're not
oh,
too sure what it was meant to communicate, other than doubt in
oh,
my
Well,
ability.
Paul, it
well,
was
no, you,
I might be on opiates.
no.
That's not what it
I would know. I would know that if I miscommunicated, I apologize. But I know that that's not the truth, and that's not
Okay,
what
so
I
you
meant by it.
miscommunicated. You didn't take the opportunity when you were in your ego to try to demean me and discredit me and disrespect me and my wife by
Hey,
saying my
Paul.
eyes were pinned and on opiates. You misspoke like
I
Hillary.
didn't
Right.
say you were on opiates. That's
Paul.
If he
why.
did,
No, you
he's
just misspoke like
apologizing, Paul.
Hillary, right?
Yes.
And alluded
Hey.
to my eyes being
Paul.
pinned and being
If
on.
he
Paul.
did, he's apologizing, Paul.
Oh, that was some
Yeah.
apology. Hey, I misspoke.
Well,
that was
he
Hey.
This must be
apologized.
an
I said I
Italian apology.
apologized.
Yeah, I've been getting
That's why
Italian
you talk.
apologies all my
But
life. I misspoke like Hillary.
No, I said I
Hey.
apologize if I miscommunicated what I said.
Right, which is a fake apology. I
Paul.
apologize.
Okay,
for
let me
you.
go.
Hey,
I
what
got- I
about
gotta
the
go.
intentions?
Because it's the
Gotta
same
go
old
running.
story. No,
Gotta
see,
go
here
running.
we go. You want to hear?
Intentions.
You want
I
No, you don't like
apologize
the
if I
story.
misspoke. So you didn't
I
misspeak.
said
Maybe you did.
4
But it's okay,
times.
my interpretation.
4 times
Yes.
now. I said I apologize if I said the wrong thing. I
If you
didn't
said
mean.
the wrong
Okay.
thing, so you
Well,
don't
Now,
feel you did. It's
Paul,
if I determine you did.
Junior.
do you?
Hey,
Did
Oh,
you?
It's the
here
Hold
we
fake
are
on, Jack.
mincing the
Hold on,
what
words.
do
Jack.
I do? What do I do?
And you
Mr.
wonder why we can't communicate because you just want to talk over me
Right,
and
because
never
you're a
want to listen.
narcissist who
There
doesn't
you
have
go
empathy.
again.
That's
No.
You
why.
just want to babble over
Junior.
me. You
I'm
don't want to
sorry
listen to
if
me.
you took offense to something
Hey.
I might
No,
have
I
said
didn't
that you
say
thought was
that.
wrong.
I said I'm sorry if I
After a
said the
moment.
wrong
Dear
thing. I
God.
didn't mean it in that direction. What do you want me to do? Bow down, write an affidavit?
There you
Stop
go.
it.
No.
There's the inferiority.
No.
Here we
What do you
go.
want me to
Here
do?
we go.
Would
do
you
that.
What do you want
guys,
me to do?
for the
Prostrate
love of
Say,
myself?
Pete,
and you
Instead of just
wonder why.
communicate
You
effectively?
wonder
Lou, see
why.
what you
Hey,
friggin'
I'm a
started, Lou?
douchebag. I
See
have
what
a
you
habit of
started,
being
Lou?
egoic.
No, but it's the
and
same
saying-
old thing. It just
anything.
proves a point.
Right.
Yes, you
I
did.
can
All
help
you do
out
is
with that. I can
all
help
you do
out.
is babble
Isn't it?
over me. You don't want
Yeah,
to
I
hear
can
from me. You just
help
want to
out.
back, just like now.
Isn't it
You
okay? Isn't it better, Mr. Paul Senior? Isn't it better if you're going to apologize? Would it not? Because to say
Oh, he's not allowed to finish either. Okay.
Hey, well, I'm about to put you in the back too.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Something was said in the past. There's no reason to be so reactive. I saw your father demonstrate some humility, showing, hey, if I misspoke, I'll own it. Right? And Lou, there was no reason to bring this particular perspective back up the way that you did. That's what I was blaming on you. You lack awareness and you only think about yourself. You don't think about the effects of what you're doing.
In my heart,
I know you're a confused
in my
man,
heart,
Lou.
all I want is that Paul and his father would be able to have a good relationship with honesty and integrity and love and respect. And that's it. That's all I want. And I don't think it can happen. It can't happen unless...
Actually, let me come back to what I was trying to say, Lou. Let me come back to what I've been trying to say about what you were offering regarding your comparison and your relationship. You project, you believe, I believe honestly, and maybe there's plenty of facts to support it too, that maybe your parents are holding things from your past. But what you've got to consider, your thoughts, your behaviors are going to have an effect. See, I talk and Lou just stays confused. He doesn't listen. But what I'm trying to say is our thoughts actually have an effect. We may not recognize it, but if we believe that our parents judge us for drugs, we may produce unintentionally some sketchy patterns, some old habits that make...
Oh, so we're now accountable and responsible for what everyone else is doing, even though they're not. Right.
We're responsible for what we allow others to see of us. Okay?
Right.
And it's not always right. Others are not always right. We're not always right. But we've got to accept that we are. They are.
Hey, somebody wants to say hi, Paul.
Okay. Hi, Paul.
Hey, that's Juliana. Right.
Hello, young lady.
Very beautiful.
How's everybody?
Still square head like Lewis, but that runs in the family. I'm not insulting you, of course. You look very delightful.
Asshole.
Today, I look forward to a day.
Did you hear what she said? Takes a square head to know a square head.
Right. Mine's sort of, well, it's a little bit of both at this point. It's square rounded. It's oblong. Okay, but I look forward to a day where I come to Canada and inseminate Juliana.
Oh, shut the fuck
just
up.
Strictly to annoy Lewis, if nothing else. And she has daddy issues, so of course she's on board with that. You don't have to say anything. What's understood doesn't have to be said.
Okay, well,
let's move on.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Love you. Love you.
Bye. I love you.
That's nice to see.
Did you just sexualize your daughter? I just looked down and I heard kissing noises, and the Zetetic Warrior said,
"Oh yeah,
no, that was
doing it again."
That, you know what? I didn't agree with those accusations of Lou either. I didn't see him sexualizing his daughter. He's a caring father, but a confused man from what I see.
When I grow up, Jack, I want to be just like you. My only problem is I don't want to grow up.
I want you to be better than me.
Lou, ask Juliana when she's going to come back on the panel, man.
Well, she's gone now, so I can't ask her, but I will next time I see her.
I like that. She could talk some shit back too. You know, that's always attractive. Other than her looking like you, I mean, that's off-putting. But the fact that she's got a rap and some wit to her, and you know, she can give as well as she gets. Hey. Jack, don't take that into another realm, please. Don't.
Oh God, don't, please.
Yeah, I was talking about humor.
No, you know what? I am a dad who, I hope other dads do listen to me, because I've learned from a lot of regretful things, putting my attention and my energy on the wrong things, right? putting my energy and attention on the problems of others rather than caring about who was really important to me. That was my son. But you know, I didn't have good examples of dads other than what I saw.
Hey, Dad.
And
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off if you're still going. I just had a
oh,
question. Can you send me, would you share with me a copy of the UN speech you want to give?
Rough draft.
why?
It's a rhetorical request, but one that, I could be wrong.
Right, it serves you and your disbelief, but
Well,
what
I've heard you, I've
what
been
would
listening
be
to you talk
trying
for
to
quite a while about how your beliefs fuel change. And I agree, beliefs do fuel change. They're critical to it, but they fuel change because they fuel your action thereafter. So I don't believe that you believe that you're going to speak at the UN. That's why you don't have a rough draft to send me. If you believe that you were going to speak tomorrow, you'd be writing a speech.
would I? If I lived as you, maybe I would, but I've explained the principles very easily. And again, it doesn't have to be me. Take your disbelief and actually do something with it and figure out how to do it instead of me. Figure out how to
I
create a
mean, you
world
not
where
speaking at the UN is the status quo. You
All right,
need to
let's
take your
let's
belief.
meet
no,
in the middle
you're
somewhere.
creating a false narrative again. What I'm saying is very simple. It's logic and reasoning. A world without secrets would
You're not.
eliminate the
No, you're not
banker's
doing
lies.
this. No, you're not taking our secrets. All right,
I
that's all
mean,
we have left.
this organization thrives off secrets and corruption and war. You think
Right,
that they want to hear the
right.
message that you're going to send?
The systems we
What if John Vance
not
was forced to
against.
tell everyone he's suffering from HIV down there, which is clear and evident by looking at him, but we don't know that conclusively. What if he was
Hey,
forced to reveal that secret?
you know what? Actually, John and I started off on the wrong foot, and I said some pretty disparaging words to him and about him, but we've grown and we've learned how to communicate with each other better. So I welcome John here. But hey, the regard of secrets and lies, I mean, it's, you can believe what you want. I'd rather people joined me in this life believing that we could somehow find a way
All
to
right, can we
end
practice
wars.
at a VFW hall first, and then we'll shoot for the UN? We'll
Why do
start.
you require me to go do things when I'm
You
here
said you
offering
wanted
it
me to
right
help
now?
you go to the UN and talk. So now I'm
Well,
on board. I say let's start with a VFW hall and establish
what would
ourselves.
convince you to set the goal to go talk to the public servants and explain to them the type of leadership
If I was
we
completely
expect?
insane, which I'm no longer am, so
You'd rather
because I
just
can't
be in
achieve that,
denial?
I'm willing to work with you and meet you halfway. A VFW hall for starters.
I would like a VFW hall as well. I actually like your insane goal, but I don't believe it's a real goal. So I'd like to, I
Right.
mean, it's not really my business either way,
What would
but you can
convince
share to get off
you
the
to
pot.
accept? What would convince you to accept that which is being revealed honestly as my goal, as what I believe the Creator has purposed me to believe?
If you really believed that you were supposed to speak to the UN, first of all, they're a terrorist organization, so I don't know why you're going to go convince gangsters not to be gangsters. But
Well, I can answer
if
that
you were,
question, but
okay, so
Saddam
you got
Hussein had the same dreams of speaking at the UN, and you know how that ended.
Gaddafi.
Right.
Take your
Never goes well.
disbeliefs and shove it. I ain't believing anymore.
tell you what,
I would think
I
that
brought
your
this-
YouTube, if you were actually serious about speaking at the UN, I would think that your YouTube channel would have on the landing page a video of the speech that you would like to tell to them. I would think you would have a PDF to
Hey,
send me. I would think that.
hey, Flow State, great idea. That might be one of the first actually encouragement ideas, to lead me in that direction. That's a great idea. I mean, the other day, what's his name? The crazy snafu. He brought in the idea of emails and phone numbers again to different organizations than I've tried in the past. So You know what? I'm open to encouragement and ideas that might help, but I don't know YouTube. I've been saying this clearly. I think I'd have a lot better chance of people taking me seriously if I wasn't completely alone. But so far, no
Well,
one has
when's the last
wanted.
time you talked to your son then?
What's that?
Snafu actually did something. He actually made calls. He did
Yeah,
more
I
than
know.
you've done.
That's what I.
Dear
So
Fuck
Rupert
off
can't
with
say
you
Murdoch.
more than
you
you've
gotta
done, Lou.
respect him for
Lou,
that. You
learn
gotta
some
respect him.
self-respect. Lou, I am sick
I'm
and
just
tired of your
saying, don't
false
disrespect
accusations. See,
Snafu.
and once again, I speak. Lou has to speak. Agent of chaos, no self-control
Right.
or self-respect.
All I'm saying is don't disrespect Snafu. He actually made some calls for you.
I didn't.
I mean,
I'm
Jack, I
sick
think
of
you want to
you're
get
hurting egos
you
again.
telling me what
Don't
to
throw
do,
him out,
Lou.
Jack.
No
if
bullshit. The man hasn't.
All right.
He has been warned. He's been asked. He's been
All right.
suggested. He doesn't want to listen.
I'm backing off.
okay,
Jack,
but let me
you're
get back
triggering
on
egos.
Flo's
back
coming
on
in here
point.
with this disbelief and his arrogance. You should have a speech for me if you want to be taken
If
seriously.
you want
Well,
people,
you
you
can
keep saying
leave
that you
too.
want people to come together, bro. We're here. We're
Are
together
you?
right now. Let's move
Are
your
you?
agenda forward.
Okay.
Right.
Well, then why are
I
we
haven't.
wasting time with your
John Vance has prepared
expectations?
something, Jack. Please.
Because we're now unified and around you. So what's the agenda? We're waiting for the next step to get to the UN.
Well, no, now you're lying to yourself because I was just sitting here enduring this bullshit of you should be at the VFW. You should be doing
sorry,
this. You should be doing that. So
Right.
now
Wow.
if you want to come correct and have actual discussions, we can do that.
I was trying to help out. See how I get trashed and abused for trying
Everybody
to help
loves the VFW because you can still smoke inside of them.
out? Right. It's like a patriotic organization.
The
What's your problem? Jack?
VFW is one of the organizations that I have considered and explored on my own. But the past brought us to today.
Did you just shapeshift?
I don't think so.
I just saw you do like those Japanese films where they dub in the voice. You were talking in it. Are
Oh.
you a deep state deep fake?
My
This
signal.
explains why you're always in the same position. I've never seen you make a video not in front of that. Is that a blue screen? It's all coming clear to me now. This is like Anderson Cooper when he had that moment at the school shooting event where his nose disappeared.
You can
I
see
just-
that mask line too on his neck down there if you look close, can't you?
This is what I've been fearing. Talcott's not even real.
Guys,
Talcott, have you considered the this is good faith suggestion. Have you considered what status you have when you're going to talk to the UN? Like I got paperwork here, like I said, telling like the ambassador of God or keeper of the faith or
I don't know if I'd recommend those
that,
titles.
you know what I mean? Like something that would really kind of stand out. Have you
That's
ever
not-
thought of that at all, or no? Maybe it's just a suggestion. You could take it or leave it, but it's a suggestion.
And I got a question too. Do you claim a nationality?
I have in the past, but today I recognize myself, you, and all others as children of God.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'd like to read a quote from a guy named Gary Davis. Now, Gary Davis is the guy I've talked about before that went before the UN, and he didn't write no letter or nothing. He just walked in and interrupted them in session. You got to have heart to do this. If you ain't got heart, you're not going to do anything. And that's what we see so far, Jack. But Gary
Copy
Davis
false narratives,
said, I'm not
and
a
we'll get
man
along better.
said, I'm not a man without a country. I'm just a man without a nationality, which is coinciding with Jeremiah 1:5. Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. Before thou was cast from the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. So if you're going to go into UN, I urge you strongly to start out with Jeremiah 1:5. I yield. Have a good day, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir.
Let's do like a brainstorming session of like ideas of.
I got one.
Why is
Yeah.
there a need of brainstorming? Didn't I just tell you?
So that's an idea. We can come
And
up with
Gary
other
Davis,
ideas.
and
No,
mind
I'm not saying. No, that's good. That's a
Mind
good
you,
idea.
real quick,
It's a
real quick, let me
euphemism
clarify.
for wet brain. He's trying to be tactful.
Let me clarify. Gary Davis isn't the only one that proposed this concept. It started out with Jesus.
Right.
Think.
And it was before him as well.
Yes, exactly. Before him as well.
Right.
Many people noted that they are not part of the nation. They were born naturally and not under a nationality. And that's what we have to get to. I'm tired of
Right.
all this citizenship screwing everybody up from the day they're born.
But
And
that's not the message that he wants to speak on. Like, I don't disagree with you, but that's just not.
Says who?
Isn't
Who the fuck?
I've never heard you say that.
Yeah,
I've heard you
That's
talk
your
about speaking at the UN
problem.
like 18 times.
Your problem is you expect different things than what is being said. Now, if you actually tried to pay attention, and Flo, I don't know you. I've respected some of the work I've seen, but you're really coming in with the wrong energies with me right now, and I don't have
I know
the patience
because I'm
for you.
calling you on it.
No, you think you're accomplishing things, and all you're doing is serving your doubt. Now, I'm happy to face the doubt, but I'm sick and tired of gauntlets of people wanting to disparage me and paint false
So
narratives.
you want us to believe in you with
So here,
no
let's
show.
get back to the point. If you pay attention instead of expressing your false doubt and false narratives, we'd have a lot better conversation. So what I am saying is just what Wizard is talking about.
End war,
Common
end secrets. That's what I've heard you say.
Right. How
cannot
can
win-
you have
You
there
cannot
is
win
no-
a three-legged. You cannot win a three-legged race with two legs. You have to have three. How are you going to get that third leg?
They have pills for that, I think.
They also have toxins that they feed you when you start out in your mother's womb.
They feed the cows those. We just get them secondhand.
love is the answer? Love is honest. It is truthful. It is abundant and free. Love is available for all of us to accept, to believe in, to offer, and to share. Love is a mysterious thing, and I frankly believe that God is love. For it is love that reveals the truth of time and evolution and history to us. And so, love, through the power of love, from the position of love, I hope to create opportunities to explain the truth, to bring the truth, the light to the darkness of the lies and the confusion that our ancestors and our current civilization have accepted.
Can I just say one quick
Can you
thing,
ever
Jack, and
just-
I'll get out?
Once in a while, can you just let the silence wash over us?
Sorry, I will. But can I say
Yeah.
this one? I want to confront everybody on the panel. 1 second, except for Jack. Except for Jack, I don't want to confront Jack, but I want to confront everybody else here.
Right.
Paul has ministered and been in service to every one of you here at some point in some way. And now his father
Born
is
in their
sitting
side
here,
is a better characterization. Go ahead.
and now Paul's father's here, and Paul is here. You guys have all known that there is some sort of, friction there, and none of you are trying to help minister or be in
No.
service to him.
No one
That's
cares.
all
You
I
didn't
want to
know
say.
that? Okay, no one cares.
Well,
no one cares about me.
Who's
my
Paul's
family,
father?
Hold
Stop.
on a minute. In fairness, I actually honor and respect the fact that I have both of the Pauls, the junior and senior, who've been a part of creating these things that many of us have been learned from. I appreciate and honor the fact that I have both of them sharing time with me. And Lou, I do have the goal in the heart to try and see if I can help these two fine men communicate, but I've also been trying to be respectful of the wishes. So it's a fine balance, Lou, but you're speaking out of turn. There are people who have been trying to help.
I don't know what that means. I don't have any wishes.
I know.
There's no, magic lamp here. So when I
It's
find one, I'll
within.
start wishing. Once in a while, they'll do like a birth slave cake for me, and they'll put candles on it, and it'll have the same amount of candles as whatever my birth slave date is, concurrent, and then I'll make wishes and blow it out. But other than that, I don't have any wishes other than to seek the truth and get down to a co-creative resolution for ourselves and each other.
Part of the fun of this life is the wishes, allowing our imaginations to wander into beautiful, hopeful things. So wishes, I don't hang your hat on wishes. I'm not suggesting the foolishness of that, but if you can, here, honestly, my own path. Faith is a gift I've finally discovered, and I've humbled myself to the truth. Faith, it's up to each of us to imagine. It's up to each of us to imagine how much faith and love our Father, our Creator, has for us. The divine faith that Jesus showed, it's available for us to choose. It requires going into the darkness without all the answers, but the belief that wishes can come true. And I never used to allow myself to wish because my heart was always fucking disappointed. But now I've learned to temper my own expectations. That's the key. Believe in your heart that great things are there, that the perfect relationship, the perfect business opportunity, the perfect life is there waiting for you. And then believe you've got eternal patience and figure it out.
You wish you were a woman?
Huh?
You ever wish you were a woman?
No, because I know how I used to objectify and think about women, so I never did.
Some of them
Now,
like it.
I did wonder about what it would be like to have the parts, and if I'd ever leave my bedroom.
So you want a vagina?
Well, they
Ironically
seem
enough,
to enjoy theirs.
you want the apparatus that allows you to
Hey, I
be
admit,
penetrated by a man naturally.
no. I've thought about a lot of interesting things, but that's part of being a human.
I never once thought about what it would be like to have a vagina. So you're on your own there.
I can get you a vagina.
Right. I mean, our best people are working on that stuff, and they've made a lot of.
Did any of those thoughts have to do with any sort of strap-ons, Jack?
No. See,
No?
and that's what I mean. My mind just barely entertained and fleeted with the ideas, but I am so grateful for the life and the parts that I have. I love being me. I love being a man. I love living. And we all can. We can all love living if you can convince yourself. But see, that goes back to what I was saying before too. If you can believe in God, you can see the good. And if you can see the good will help you believe in God. Because gratitude is the key to life. It really is.
So what would you say to Wes Watson if he was screaming at you right now that gratitude is an action state and that you're judged by your level of gratitude by what you're doing and creating versus what you're yapping about and how you feel about it?
I think he'd understand. He speaks about gratitude a lot in his own stuff and being of service. Wes Watson.
Oh, yeah.
I think, you know what, Paul? I think we should set the golden
gratitude starts with you being financially secure now for a while. So giving up that beast fiat you want to get rid of every month because it's only $300 and you're so thankful and grateful you don't need their hoe money.
I don't. I haven't needed it. I've been blessed to receive what God allowed me to receive, man. my life is what it
Do
is.
you realize that you donated to me 3 days in a row, and I'm literally talking you out of, in a sense, donating to me again in order to just not donate to me and keep that and not take their money so you could save your soul?
I thought about that actually. Maybe I'll just send you the $300 a month. And
No, there's no way out of this, dude. What do you think I'm a
I'll
cheap
pass-
mo like you? You'd have
I'll
to come
pass
way
my-
more than that to even make me think about it. I still wouldn't go to thinking about it.
I'll
You
pass
ain't
my
passing that
sins
fucking
on to
piece to get
you.
off on me to absolve yourself of telling them to get fucked. That's not how this works.
I'll absolve you for $300 a month. Sold.
There you go. He'll let you be on the karmic loop for the B system and take that check every month. I can't do that. I can't be who I am and do that.
Well, admittedly, you made me look at myself and what does that mean about myself still receiving this? But the reality is I'm upholding the American government, the system and the beast that it is, for their responsibility to fulfill the contract they made with me as a child. So I'm holding the beast responsible, and in my own small way, I'm saving $300 a month from being spent on other weapons and persons of damage today.
No, that's your Stormy Daniels hoe money.
It's
Just
my
like Donnie paid. Just like Donnie paid to Stormy. That's your Stormy Daniels hoe money because you gave your life over to a cause and they got to give you some benefits and privileges on the back end so you feel like a fulfilled hoe. So cut it out, you holding them responsible and accountable. If that was the case, you'd be getting a lot more for your life and time and energy than $300 a month, unless that's all it's worth to you. That's all it's worth to them.
I know. It's hush money. It's hush money.
But giving them money to spend more on weapons and shit, I mean, seems backwards. What do I know?
Hey, brother, that's the exact point I want to make, is that this is insanity. Spending money for weapons to pick sides in a war, when we're picking sides in a war for human beings to be murdered and for Mother Earth to be poisoned with more blood and chemicals and destruction. So I think it's time. I mean, honestly, what I think my purpose is a wake-up call to reality. And so what do I want to communicate to the people at the UN and to the American government? The reality is their position and their responsibility in the chaos and destruction that we've been seeing, and that the majority of Americans in the population don't appreciate the sick games being shown on the global stages. I don't think I'm alone in saying these things. I've been influenced and learning from some of the best. Paul?
Is there a reason why you hang out with Paul? Because you want to practice raising your voice when you have to come and
not intentional, but that's been an extra benefit, is allowing me a safe opportunity to develop my own emotional growth.
All right, the UN would like to call forth Jack Talcott, hailing from Spokane. Greetings, Mr. Talcott. Would you like to approach the podium?
I would. I'd like to approach and speak to the brothers and sisters.
He just sits there, yes, I would. But he never walks up.
No, brother.
All right, go ahead, Jack. Hold on, let me reintroduce. No, not me. Let the person.
Well, here, whoever I'm speaking to, it would be in a similar fashion to this. I'd be speaking to brothers and sisters. Humans.
So you already offended all the they them community worldwide. Because you went and put everyone in 2 gender categories. So there you go. There's about a third of your slaves right now.
What? That's true. Holy shit.
Greetings, they, them, brothers and sisters, birthing parents 1, 2, 3 to 5. My name's Jack Talcott.
Well, hey, yes, welcome beings of consciousness, fellow beings of consciousness,
I
sharing
like
the
that.
experience together at this time. We're going to
They start to
communicate.
think Talcott's a gray alien. Greetings, beings of Earth. Take me
Hey,
to your
dude,
leaders, man.
Paul, swear to God, look at the news and detach yourself and just kind of consider, maybe I am an alien. Maybe I don't belong here. Look at the humans, dude.
I can see that.
Humans are friggin' nuts, man. Holy
ugly.
shit. To think that we blend into that. That's amazing. Because serious, this is our lifetime. What if there is a future for humanity where resources, knowledge, and energy are all shared freely?
It's called communism. Good luck. It
Oh,
seems
we'll
to be
call it.
taking off though, so I think we're going to get there soon. UBI.
Hey,
Right,
we'll call it.
whole
We'll
deal.
call it different names. Beyond the money, we don't need
we'll call,
UBI.
we'll call it
Talcott, have you read
Talcottianism.
Marx? Have you
It's
read
got a
Karl
better
Marx?
ring to it.
The
Did Jack
first
admit he's an
Christian was
alien?
that way.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that he's a
Have you read-
communist. He said he's a communist gray alien at that.
Communist
A commie
alien.
alien.
We have a whole new enemy now that we got to focus on in the mainstream media. The communist gray aliens are coming to redistribute our wealth.
No, maybe.
Jack, should we seize the
Maybe.
means of production?
I'm
It's an
I'm a
idea.
force for unity. I'm a force for unification.
I'm for workers' rights, man.
Amen.
I'm
Hey.
seizing the power company.
That's
Yes,
possible.
actually, I am. I'm pro-labor, but I'm anti-work, anti-job.
You can't make this up. I'm pro-labor, but I'm anti-work. You know,
Anti-jobs.
I'm
Yeah.
you doing all the work while I talk about labor. I'm on board with that.
I knew it all along.
You know, there's thinkers and there's doers. You figure out which one you're going to be.
There's some truth to that, and we all play roles, different roles at different times. Sometimes we're the thinker, sometimes we're the doer. But I think
This
humans
is what
work
got
too
Guevara
hard.
to start shooting people in the forest. Communism was great till everyone was pro-labor and anti-work. Then it all just went downhill.
No, anti-job.
That'll be me and you. You'll be Fidel Castro. I'll be Guevara with a big beard and long hair, out there with somebody digging holes and then pissed because I got to work now. You know, doing Talcottianism, and I'll look over. You'll be up in some chariot, women around you drinking liquor, and then that's when I go to taking people out in the forest and just popping traitors and infidels. And they go, "Paulie was so kind and loving, like Che Guevara. We don't know what happened." Well, Fidel Castro, right there.
Well, think about how many jobs there are today that people go to every day. And the only reason these jobs exist is for enforcement of someone else's rules, right? Enforcement or regulation, or just for the purposes of profits. Those jobs don't serve anything but the beasts. We could shut down Wall Street, the people gambling on the future of everyone else. We could shut them down. We could bring, until we transition away from money, we could institute usury laws so that this ridiculousness of profit from fiat interest.
So you want to join with the Catholic Church?
Nah, he's trying to cut in on the action.
Yep.
I'm heavily invested in his and all the other slaves' failure at this point. That's what allows me to do what I do. How dare he try to cut in on my action and my living, let alone the system?
Hey,
There you go with your ego again.
I do want to move into the Catholic Church game. I want to meet the Pope. He's been misleading his many of the followers for a long time.
Pope Talcott.
No.
Cloud of smoke. Talcott emerges with the hat.
Guys, this is the thing I realize. You don't have to be the name. You don't have to be the one in the front. You just got to be able to influence those people who are. And that's why I want to speak to the quote unquote leaders.
Benedict Talcott the fourth.
Pope Francis caught?
No. I'm just a man who's pointing others to the old ways, the ways that always were. This is what Paul's been doing too. Pointing people out to, hey, use some sense. Recognize you're free, freedom. Take charge of your freedom.
That's
Live
again,
without
you want
fear.
that's again the Catholic Church. The old world order was for 2,000 years. The Catholic Church maintained it was against the law. Usury was against the law. Now we're in the New World Order where everything is usury. So you want to go back to the old world order. I can appreciate that.
I want to go back to sacrificing slaves and hostages so the sun rises.
Right. This guy's onto it.
Well,
why should we continue down this purposeless, nihilistic path of self-chosen suicide under the guise of keeping oneself safe when we can have a hierarchical systemic means of doing so? Come forth with all the genetically inferior slaves, toss them in the pit so we can continue the karmic loop and break free. Right? We can break free through sacrifice. That's the name of the game.
The sun
is not expect you and your family to be some of the first ones to, give yourself for this cause.
That's literally how America started out.
And Ian especially, Ian, okay? Ian's going to have to be thrown in Moloch's pit for the good of creation. No, I don't make the rules, bro.
Well, I know. Well, actually,
Vance isn't far behind either. Vance is he's giving himself. He's got his hand up in solidarity. Okay, say his name. He's giving himself to the cause. That is an honorable man.
Amen.
Amen. You just gave an amen for that?
Workers of the world unite.
Pit?
I think I actually do agree on some of Talcott's political stances. I'm familiar with leftist thought, and I lean towards that way economically. And I guess spiritually, what we're going to have to do as humans is that everything is going to be automated, and so we're going to have to figure out what we're going to do with our spare time, and that obviously the question of the self comes in, and so obviously the left movement has been co-opted by nefarious forces of the deep state, like the World Economic Forum, the UN, nefarious purposes like that to degrade the message, the true message, the true progressive left-leaning message of unity and purpose, a new human life, a new being, or not just a being of just slaving away at capital and going to a desk job and filling out numbers and a useless job that doesn't serve anything. I'm sure that there will be some bureaucrats, obviously, but a lot of them are just fillers, right? And I think Talcott does great work in that he really, in a way, triggers people's ego. I hate using that phrase, but he also gets at the really deep questions of who am I, what am I here for, what's my purpose, as opposed to a kind of different strains of thought in American mainstream or American distant, even some dissident movements based off of kind of this Protestant work ethic. You got to be doing something. 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 Not doing something this minute, you're a loser, low life, scum, whatever.
Yeah,
right?
But Vance, again,
that's basically worked off of the Protestant work ethic.
But Vance, this is again,
always striving towards a means to an end, but not asking why.
Right, because your beingness, again, this is not, and I see what you're saying, and it's, if I'm projecting here, it's like an indirect correlation, which is fine because I get what you're saying. I come out of the school of not wanting to work, right? Not wanting to apply myself, wanting to ask the existential questions. That's how I got back to like the prodigal son. We have 8 hours a day to create and do. We have 8 hours a day to rest in our beingness, in our internal space, and 8 hours for sleep. So, when appropriated properly with centered and balanced purpose and will and meaning, we become fulfilled and more at peace because we're doing, we're being, and we're, recharging to continue the doingness and beingness process. So, we do not hold up one and forsake the other. They work in tandem. We are non beingness spirit, we use beingness.
We've got to be able to adapt that schedule as well. But yeah, balance is the key between receiving and offering, from doing and just being.
But then there's the record too. Who are you today in the now on record? A combination of your yesternows that led to this now, right? So if you can sit in this moment and say, I have done, like Talcott says in the past, things that have led me to a place now where I have faith in my future and in myself, knowing what my abilities are, right? Knowing my, my strengths and weaknesses, then I'm that much more likely to manifest a kingdom of heaven for myself and others because I'm in true faith. The only way we gain that true faith is with the works that re-verify to ourselves a process that is real. So again, what is real? The process is real because it leads to real results that are tangible, that are changing the life of the being involved in the process and the other lives of the beings who are involved in the process, because there's only one self. So again, imagine if we did 8 hours here, then we took it to 8 hours of everyone correcting their status, knowing legal, lawful, understanding cause and effect, presenting themselves honorably wherever they go, and upholding the law and the truth, and then 8 hours of sleep. We'd have nothing left to do. Nothing would be left undone. Everything else would be utilitarian, right? Planting, growing, whatever the other things of the world are, right? But who we are in this now would be unslaved, empowered, inspired, inspiring, free to love beings with personal choice to affect ourselves, our future, and our destiny without the judgments, says Talcott, or the obsessions or the coercions of others. So if we could stand in this moment together and say we feel, at least to a certain point, like that being, then we're united in purpose and meaning, and we go forward seemingly, unaffected by the world and its games. But I cannot honestly say that I'm seeing beings on these platforms who can look me in the eye and say that, because they're not doing what the fuck they need to be doing, because they must not know what I know or feel it the way I do. Or I'm completely wrong and off on my own trip, and none of this shit matters, and the results I've gotten are meaningless to myself and everyone else. I can't see it any way like that because it's real to me.
I mean, we're on our own path. I would say, maybe push back on the set schedule thing and having a 5-year plan and stuff like that. I mean, in some instances, yes, like for city planning and stuff like that. But in some instances where we're talking about like meaning of life and, what a person's contribution is, that's a little bit different than on a collective level on like plan for a society, right?
Yeah, but I never said
so having a schedule of 8 hours here, 8 hours here, 8 hours here. I mean, it's a good guideline. I always look at them as guidelines, but not necessarily something like strict adherence to, right?
No, but again, this is common sense.
You underslept a minute, you know what I mean? And so basically, when you do that, you limit opportunities for you, right?
Well, no,
what
because
we want to
again,
do here is we want to challenge ourselves. We want to break pattern and challenge into other avenues as well, if that is necessary for you, and not just stick in one legal
Right, but we
lawful,
can't
which
speak in
obviously is very
generalities.
important.
We can't speak in generalities where folks go other things, other avenues. Like what?
Well,
Like what other things and
here,
avenues you perceive of other than being centered and balanced, peaceful and powerful, inspired, inspiring, and generating within yourself and outside of yourself the results you want and need?
joy and service to others are very
Isn't that
important.
the joy and the
Right?
service?
Yes,
Isn't that it?
yes,
It's
yes.
it's all one process. It's the all.
Right.
This is my point.
Right. Hey, let me something.
Your fulfillment and joy and service doesn't come from sitting around talking. It comes from being something that motherfuckers come to and get value from, that they create and emulate that value in their own life. That's service.
It all comes through there. So what you were talking about it as effort and work, right? This was that guy Shunya Murti. He was talking something about this the other day. We are all the concept of we are all enlightened beings. Okay, we all are. It's within us. It's up to us to remove that which is not enlightened, so that we become our true self. And the path to enlightenment, it requires effort, and it requires commitment and sacrifice. Effort is required, but this is where the confusion is. It's effortless to surrender. So when we surrender our effort to accept, well, then we can become whole, and through the wholeness, move the strength forward. That's where I'm trying to get at, is we got to stop complicating ourselves.
Again, the acceptance comes, you're talking about an action as well. This is the problem with love and all these words that you don't combine with an action space. The acceptance of life on life's terms does not come with tolerating what is undesirable for yourself and everyone else. The acceptance comes when you accept it, move past it, and become better than it and transcend it.
Right.
We're not here to just accept and tolerate everything that's less for ourselves and others.
Well, we don't need to
less
allow
than desirable experience. Not that I'm saying desire is a route to, you know what I'm saying when I say that.
do.
The outcome is preferable to when not doing that.
Right. But what I'm trying to get at is our objections and our resistance. That
right,
interferes.
Resistance to what it's going to take to not be a slave. Right. So it persists and gets worse.
Sometimes, Paul, it requires us to change our perspective.
We have to go over this again, Vance? Yeah. We've been doing this for like 5 or 6 months, right?
What's your definition of a
following
slave?
Policy and code, not understanding in your heart a spiritual faith system of cause and effect, right and wrong objectively. Receiving the benefits and privileges of the corporate society you say that is the enemy, not being financially secure by minding your own business separate from the state of corporation.
Right.
On and on and on and on. Pretty much everything nobody is doing who's been brought up in this society because they're too busy sitting around thinking about shit other people are doing.
Paul, your standards, while you think they're solid and foundation for you, you're actually not as consistent as you claim. And
why are we pointing out at this point my inconsistencies?
Well,
why don't we focus on where I have been consistent first, where you haven't been, and then we'll go to the few times I'm inconsistent.
Well,
I don't mind.
You've consistently imagined disagreements because of your standards.
I'm not imagining disagreements. Are you?
Between the two of us, yes, Paul, you have.
I have my perspective, as do you and everyone else here. Are we not entitled for those not to align for whatever reason?
But it doesn't mean your
what makes you think I'm imagining disagreements? Maybe you're not agreeing with what I'm saying for some reason.
Well, maybe you're avoiding agreement because that's what the ego does.
I don't have any ego, dog, in the fight of agreeing and disagreeing with you.
Between the two of us, you've
why would I know everything you're saying I'm
line.
agreeing with and clarifying further? You're leaving open-ended generalities up in the air that feel good but don't provide clarity in the action space.
What would you
Thoughts,
feel?
emotions, actions. You're not going to overwrite the sacred trinity, which has been a law since man has apprehended how the vessel works since the beginning of time. to
Well,
generate a cause and effect result. Thoughts, emotions, actions. You don't even have the thoughts and emotions down, let alone the list of actions it's going to take to get where we need to go.
Paul, no. What I do understand is the stillness and the peace that's available within every moment when we allow the ego to stop taking control. So I'm getting pretty comfortable with preventing my own ego from taking control of my time.
Right. You've not taken control of your own
Well,
life. You've not taken control of your
I
family.
wish you would change your
not taking control of
false
the
narrative.
country and the future's
Paul,
destiny because you've not taken control of your own life.
No, that's untrue.
I see
And
how
you know what,
comfortable you are in
Paul,
stillness
please
and lacking
stop.
control over
You're
your
turning.
interface and your
This
actions.
is degrading into a
Okay.
competitive nonsense, and that's not what
Do
I
you
want.
feel like I'm competing?
Yes.
Well,
Yes,
that's
I
your
do.
issue because there's no
Well, what do
competition.
the facts show?
with who I
Right.
am
You
and what I
believe
do.
you've
That's
already
laughable.
won. You're just presenting your glory and your victory
No,
all
glory
over
is
the
fleeting.
time.
Obscurity for a slave
Well,
is forever.
right. It's just a state of perspective and a
Okay, sir. I'll
momentary
fall back.
experience.
Take control over your broadcast. I'll fall back.
Well, I'm not doing this for any fallback or retreat or defeat. I'm admitting I'm getting tired. Okay? I appreciate the fellowship and the opportunity to share time with you guys again today. My hope was, again, to share some faith, maybe encouragement for people who might be lacking in hope. You know, those who are still struggling with the day to day experience of being themselves. And I think I did that. I think we started out, we've covered a lot of cool topics. We had some good conversations and even some relationship issues
Can we
discussed.
do like I did with Penile Power today one day and just pull the Dow up and go over it line by line? Because you say you're big on these texts, and it says hope is as hollow as fear. So if we live without fear, we must live without hope because they are both hollow emotions.
We can just be grateful for that which is. And the only thing that we can ever experience is that which is the moment. So every moment, embrace and be grateful for that which is. And then the way reveals itself.
Absolutely. And gratefulness is also an action space. You show your thankfulness and gratefulness. Again, kind of like you've been doing recently with me that, you know, I guess it shows me something about your character. If it's genuine from a place of equity, it makes me feel something in that sense. But as far as the way to the way, I can't be moved by personal contributions, but that is an action space of showing me you're thankful and grateful for me, right? Because you say that, it's easy to say that. When somebody shows you, actions speak louder than words,
Well,
right? So the way we show we're thankful and grateful is in our actions and in our service and what we create. That's all I'm
amen.
saying.
Well, along those lines, that's a lesson I learned for myself. No one can make me be honest except myself. And if I'm going to say something, well, I need to make sure my words are true. And if people don't see my words are true, well, maybe I can do a better job of creating evidence to show that my words are true. Not in a false way, but if I claim to be a generous man, well, then damn it, I should have some actions to point to that prove that I'm a generous man. If I'm a man who claims forgiveness, I should have some stories and examples, maybe even current, of my forgiveness and my levels.
Remember I said to you, Jack, that I just thought that the way that I did it, not because I did it, because it's the way I believe that I took on, is like an ethic. Show up 28 days in a row and declare a certain amount of time you will put in for yourself and show up for yourself and these people with whatever touches your heart and spirit. And I think sticking to that will be a gateway, an action space to the next creation. I don't think there's any way it could not be. Even you said you were getting subscribers there. You started to pick up steam. Motherfuckers want to see you and feel you. So that's what you do, right? It's one brick at a time.
I'm noticing I placed a lot of resistance on myself about this YouTube stuff, made a lot of excuses that I didn't know how to do this and I didn't know how to do that. But honestly, Paul, your influence could not be more friggin' obvious, right? With the format of what I'm doing, I'm following many of the things I've learned from you. But
yeah, but you're doing it in your own way, right? We're doing the way faithfully. I hope. Dare I use that term, hope? After I just right, but ultimately, Jack Talcott is not going to be Paulie Boy, right?
Amen.
The way to the way is still the same, but your expression of it is going to be different than mine. It can't help but to be, right?
Like, what's that? Sorry, you reminded me of the old quote from Bruce Lee, right? Investigate your experience, absorb and let go of those, absorb what is useful to you and let go of that which is not,
right?
And become your way.
And that's the difference, right? You can't say Bruce Lee was copying all the martial arts. He took used to do Jeet Kune Do, his own thing, right? He just borrowed a little pieces from everything that applied and then remixed it into a way to the way. It wasn't his way. It's a way to the way. That's why it resonates with so many people. So this is my point. I don't tell motherfuckers they're biting off me because they use a format and take the pieces of how I do what I do, right? Just do it in your way and lead people to the way. Don't try to be me and do what I do. Do what the fuck you do because you are an I am presence having your experience as you, not me. It's that simple.
It is. Hey, thank you. I'm gonna wrap this up unless anyone's got anything pressing.
Jack, I wanted to ask you. I should have asked a while ago. I've been sitting here not saying anything, but I've just taken it all in. I enjoyed sometimes just the fellowship, more and taking everyone's taking in the conversation more than what I have to offer to the conversation sometimes. But I was curious to know what you, if anything, got out of the reading today from the Tao. At the beginning of the stream, and if so, what did you get out of it?
Honestly, I only tuned in to Paul's thing for a little bit during bits and pieces, but what I got from that was admiration. That's the stuff that I love seeing shared and discussed is what can we learn about some of this ancient stuff that's really, it's powerful wisdom. If you can wrap your mind around it and incorporate it into you, it's powerful. And that's what I got today.
It's timeless, right?
What's that?
It's timeless. It's applicable at any time, and right.
Well, and again, what I received from it, admiration and gratitude. That's what I love to see. Seriously. Because we're here, everyone here has the opportunity to transform their own lives. And there's people like Paul, me, many others. We're on this path where we've learned a few things and we're trying to help others learn their lessons. At least that's what I'm doing. Because if I wasn't going to be trying to help others, dude, I'd be so friggin' miserable. Sitting there at home, not knowing what to do,
Right.
This is an amazing time for our world, and we are the songs that God has strummed into existence. We're the frequencies to sing the songs of who we are.
Hey, Jack.
Can you imagine a world, Jack, where everyone has something to offer each other, and that is in and of itself the currency, or whatever term you want to add on it, the system, the barter system, whatever you want to call it, that takes over, the whole and puts to bed the whole system that we're now currently all enslaved by.
I do see that. Some of the philosophies. Have you guys heard of like Ubuntu? The giving philosophy.
Yeah, it's Tallinger.
Is it? Well,
Michael Tallinger.
Maybe that. Thank you.
Jack, there's nothing I haven't looked at, Jack. I know it's hard for you to believe. I'm just a white gorilla from New York, and I smoke reefer. There's pretty much nothing I haven't looked at.
I know you're a man who gets underestimated.
There's nothing new under the sun, Jack. This isn't a new idea. It's voluntarism. It's community. It's faith-based equity.
It can work when people aren't so hurt and confused. It will work.
Right. Well, the way that we stop folks from reliving their trauma of their broken trust is to give them something to trust. So be the man you need to be and create a way for yourself and others. And motherfuckers will have a way to break out of their mistrust and their broken trust with the past men who weren't the men and women as well, that they needed to be for themselves and all the little broken children. That's where daddy comes about.
Paul.
Yeah,
I can't.
Isn't that how you restore the trust and equity? By being the man you need to be, fair and impartial, stern but fair and impartial, unwavering in truth, loving and caring with the women and children when the time is necessary, and also letting little boys know it's time to be men. So that's where the daddy archetype comes about. It's fatherly God consciousness. This is how you restore the trust and the faith. In God we trust. No? Faith without works is dead. No?
We restore the trust by honoring the truth, because the truth will set us free. And brother, I can't think of a better way to close that up than what you just said, right? To make the better world a better place, become the example and the trust that people look to, that they see there's hope.
Hey, Jack.
Yeah, brother.
Hey, you know, I backed you up on that, on the military, government, whatever it is, pay. But it seems to me that you want to go from the basement to the boardroom without a game plan.
That's wrong. That's mistaken.
He's got a game plan. Use me to get there.
No. Here, Chuck, with all due
I'm
respect.
just saying, the other day, Snafu
right.
called the UN. Did you
so
call
what?
yet?
So what? Hey, Chuck, God bless you.
No.
You think Jack Talcott wants to be associated with the likes of Snafu Snaps of all people?
Well, I'm just saying, Snafu called him.
Somehow I'm connected.
That's too late.
Chuck, your
Yes, sir.
false narratives are keeping you confused. And after all the things that I've said, for a man who supposedly pays attention, to make the allegations, hey guys,
Jack?
Thank you very much. I'm going to wrap this up.
Wait, what were you going to say? Finish what you were going to say there. Yeah, what was that? That was like an MK Ultra cot thing there. What was that about?
He's a
well, there's many examples. You can bring a horse to water. You can't make him drink. I've been casting pearls of wisdom left and right. The fucking swines want to keep their faces in the mud.
I'll be honest, Jack. You and I have something very much in common. We often are saying something, and then I think what happens to you is a very similar thing to what happens to me. What we're saying completely goes out the window. We totally forget what the fuck we're saying.
Actually, what you witnessed with me what you witnessed with me was observing the thoughts, making a determination that maybe my insults and my aggression are probably not the best way to wrap this up.
Did you just call me a grease
What you
pig?
saw there is like Jack's life flashed before his eyes, and he started rethinking everything, including this broadcast.
A little bit.
Did you just say you called me a grease pig, Jack?
Casting pearls before grease swine.
Right.
Is that what you said, Jack? You called me a grease pig. You know, that's very hurtful.
Lou, with all
what if I feel like deleting myself? That could push me over the edge.
Okay.
Lou, with all due pork grease, go ahead, Jack.
You could imagine
you wouldn't want me to do that, would you? You wouldn't want me to do that.
Lou, what the hell?
I could be in a really bad place right now.
Lou, right. Lou, you live
I'm just trying to see if you could throw me out because I want to see you throw.
Yes, you won.
That was easy.
You won, Lou. I threw you out of my life
he's
because
going to turn on himself now.
No, he won't. He's too slippery.
Well, we did learn that the average blue whale will help an ecology subsist for up to 450 years. So if Lou does kill himself, and we're not advocating that. He will feed an ecosystem for upward of 4.5 centuries. So that's good news for the biology and ecology in that area. I'm trying to see the silver lining there to the cloud.
Hallelujah.
You know, Lou's got a good heart, man, but that mind is just confused.
Right.
And it comes down to, well, the ego mind. Do you want to stay with your beliefs, or do you want to understand what is available to be learned? And Lou just, I don't know, man. Some people trigger me, and Lou pushes my buttons. Maybe I judge the ignorant too harshly.
I think, I'm going to speak for Lou here. I think you're just jealous of Lou there, Jack.
Jealous?
Yeah, I don't know of what or why or, anything like that.
Is it the morbid obesity that you're
Oh, actually, hey.
That's what it is.
Hold on. I tried to consider what might be true from that. And maybe there is. Maybe I am jealous of the fact that Lou has daughters who care about him, and he doesn't even appreciate it.
Right.
Daughters
that he then sexualizes and pimps out on the internet, according to some sources.
No. Hey, I was hoping. I put Z's name in the description too. I was hoping to see Z and even Ian today, but didn't happen. Today, thank you guys for sharing today with me. Serious. I'm gonna wrap this up.
I appreciate you.
Jack, could you kick us all out?
Yeah, one by one. Just say fuck you and kick us out one by one. You can do it.
I don't have the heart. All right, there you go. Yeah.
That was a good motivator.
Hey, Jack, have you by any chance seen the YouTube channel Wes Watcott?
No, I have not. Is there
All
one?
right, well, yeah, maybe I'll go live a little later. I don't know whose channel it is, but there's some funny clips posted there.
All right, Sean, get the hell out of here. I've had enough of you.
Namaste, Shanti.
I did the wrong one. John, stay the hell out. I got rid of you today too. Mr. Unslaved One, it's been an honor and a pleasure. I appreciate your time and fellowship, brother.
Thank you, Jack.
We'll see the rest later. To all those who joined and participated, thank you for doing so. Senior, junior, and everyone else who joined in the chat and in the future. Be well. God bless. Peace for everyone, and live without fear.